in dysfunctional. Each and every weekday morning, the Pat and Aaron Show.
Is it a little too early for being that loud?
Good morning, Tampa Bay.
And here we go.
Now your hosts, Pat Donovan and Aaron Jacobson.
Good morning, goons. Welcome to the Pat and Aaron Show, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620, coming to you live on a Wector Wednesday. That's right. Our good friend Doug Waechter will be in for the 8 o'clock hour this morning. A lot going on the show today. We will, it's been that week, unfortunately, with the Buccaneers losing in the playoffs, of wrapping up the season. Interviews, of course. Monday, it was Scott Reynolds from PewterReport.com. Yesterday, J.C. Allen from Sports Illustrated. And then today, it'll be Bailey Adams with his final hit as we wrap up the Buccaneers season with him. Friday will be Matt Matera. But, today, Bailey Adams at 7:30. Also, the great Sal Paolantonio.
Sal Pal.
The Sal Pal guy. He'll join us at, I don't know why he's the Sal Pal guy.
Sal Pal or Sal Pal?
Pal? Did you say Pal?
Because it's like P-A-O is how you start his name.
Yeah,
but
his name is the nickname is Sal Pal.
I'm just checking.
You know that.
I want anyone else who may have asked that question.
Sal Pal.
Sal Pal.
I couldn't say Sal Pal. I think I'd keep saying Sal Pal.
Like how Casey said it was perfect.
Well,
yeah.
You know what? I want you to introduce him that way. He's on at 7 o'clock.
Here's what we'll do, Casey. When we have him on at 7, I'll say Sal, and you just and then that's how we'll intro him.
Well, that's pretty much what I did to him as a fan growing up, because Sal Paolantonio has been covering NFL football since I was in my teenage years. I remember my first Giants game with Heidi. She took me to the Meadowlands for the first time, and he was down on the field, and we were right down there watching Jeff Fiegels, who I was yelling to, "You're the man, Fiegels."
Of course you did.
And Sal Pal was like, "Sal Pal! Sal Pal!" I'm pretty sure I yelled Sal Pal the first time I saw him in a press box, as a matter of fact. He looked at me like I was a fan who was about to jump on top of him.
Only you.
It was pretty close.
Only you would just hone in on the punter. Just like, I love you.
Well, he's the only guy on the field early like that.
Yeah,
He's out there working out pretty much by himself.
That makes sense. Fiegels.
But every game I ever went to that Jeff Fiegels was there, I would manage to yell, "You're the man, Fiegels," because Jeff Fiegels was a hell of a punter. All right?
Yeah.
Well, listen, we could use a Jeff Fiegels around here. Okay? Maybe that's one of the keys, Aaron, to the Buccaneer offseason.
What did we do this year with that? I mean, the punting, as great as the kicking has been the last couple of years, with Chase McLaughlin,
he's really been
historic.
honed in.
I mean, the punting that storyline was so understated because of we were focused on the defense and the injuries and how great the offense was, and we really didn't, and I think the offense bailed them out a lot of like having to really, because if it was like the last year of Brady, where we punted all the time, if we had this issue going on with punting, it would have been a disaster.
Would have been in trouble. I think I've always kind of felt like they should have just stuck with Camarda.
I agree.
And kind of figured it out with the kid. Young, big leg. He'd had a year where he's fantastic. I felt like you should have tried to recapture that.
Something says to me that there was something more there that we don't know about.
I thought maybe you'd have some kind of speculation. No. You like to speculate.
No, but like, how do you go from being a guy who was like player of the week?
You think he was going full Josh Freeman?
I didn't say that. You said that.
No, I was asking if that's what you thought. What else is going to be? He's a punter.
Can I be
honest?
What else
is there?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
Why not? I should always be honest. It crossed my mind during the season.
That he was going full Josh Freeman?
Yeah. And then that's probably me being more of a jerk and like thinking the worst of things. And listen, like, if you lived a little life, you went to college, like, some people can get out of hand. You've been paying attention to stories and news. And baseball players and athletes, they get mixed up in the wrong stuff sometimes. And not saying that's what happened. But I'm just telling you, you brought it up with Josh Freeman. It did cross my mind. Now, I'm probably different from a lot of people.
Jake Camarda did come across like a shady character, like he might be into some shady stuff.
None of that. Didn't get any of that from him.
I'm totally kidding, by the way, for anybody who thinks I might be serious.
Didn't get anything of that.
Head that this is going over, what did Josh Freeman do besides look like Michael Jackson in that one album cover?
He liked to party, man.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
I didn't what?
He had really bad sinuses. Gotcha.
I'm dealing with long COVID.
Mm-hmm.
That was the rumor.
Okay.
That you don't. I don't know that.
That's what I was insinuating. I thought.
I don't know that.
Confirming.
But Pat, would you? That was the rumor. I don't know though.
I mean, I wasn't going to speculate myself about the young man. You know what I mean? I'm not driving any buses today.
It is Florida, man.
It is Florida. I'm not sure what that means.
But
Great
yeah,
state.
I listen. I don't want to. That is so probably far from what happened.
Yeah,
he just couldn't. Maybe he had the yips when it came to punting. But that did cross my mind. He did sign with the Buffalo Bills.
Well, I hope it works out for him. I'm rooting for Jerk for
Jerk.
Jake.
I'm rooting for Jerk. He's circling the wagons. I'm rooting for that jerk.
Watch him get a Super Bowl ring.
Dude, they went with Trenton. Excuse me, I'm choked up. Bad
Long COVID.
Long COVID. They went with Trenton Gill, who, by the way, just didn't. And then it was Jack Browning. Gill didn't work out. But that's how bad it was in the middle of the year for Jake Camarda. But
Browning was terrible.
Found a new home as a reserve with the Bills, who are going for a Super Bowl here.
So we'll get into some of the more important offseason signings for the Buccaneers than just the punter position, which probably will be a focus for Jason Light in some capacity this offseason. But also last night, your Tampa Bay Lightning go into Boston to take on the Boston Bruins. They go down 6-2 after falling down 4-0. The final 2 goals late in the game, they were empty netters, but the Lightning outshot the Bruins significantly last night, like 45-23 or whatever the hell. 45-24 actually. They outshot Boston, but the Bruins come out on top. And then what was odd is the Lightning did not have Braden Point last night, and John Cooper talked about why after the game, and this is a bit of a surprise to hear.
We've had a standard, since I've been here, it's like 12 years, whatever it's been, that it's professional sports and it's nobody's kind of above the law. And it's unfortunate because it's been a game we could have really needed him. But the one that probably feels the worst about it is Pointer, because he's such a great guy and great team guy. And so, it's unfortunate. I doubt he's going to be the last player, and definitely won't be the last player in the league to do something like that. But it's, I felt awful for him, and like I said, he's the one that probably feels the worst about it.
All right, what's funny is he doesn't actually mention what it is. So if you're listening as a Lightning fan and you don't know, you could be like, "What exactly did Braden Point?" He missed a meeting. Yeah, Braden Point missed him because if you're listening to that, you might think he got in some kind of trouble.
You feel bad for him.
He's because that's like the justification a lot of times when guys screw up off the ice or off the court or whatever the hell it might be, is like, well, actually he's a good guy though.
This is why I couldn't be a coach, because here's the thing. Coach Cooper knows what a team guy Braden Point is. He even noted it there, right? This is just a team meeting, maybe overslept, whatever it was. He didn't do it out of anything malicious.
You think he went full? He went full Judge Freeman.
By the way, I feel bad about that. That was all speculation. Those are rumors, and I don't like getting into the rumors. I feel bad that that even came up. But those were all rumors back in the day, and we shouldn't listen to rumors all the time. But I don't know why I feel so bad. I haven't had a full cup of coffee. It was like running in my mind the last couple minutes.
I absolutely
love it. Coach Cooper, this is why I couldn't do it. He knows the dedication. He knows what type of player Braden Point is. We're talking about a guy who went into yesterday, tied for third in the NHL in goals with 25. He's just incredible, and he's been incredible. This happened to him in 2019 after missing a meeting in the morning before a game in Philly.
It's been 6 years, Braden. What the hell's going on?
I understand rules are rules.
You're about to say they should have cut him a break?
That's where I'm just telling you this is why I couldn't be a coach, Pat. Because you're going into Boston in a game you really could use Braden Point. Really could. No one on that team is truly going to be like, oh my gosh, they're bending the rules for Braden Point. Most likely. Maybe a couple people. But
if you're a guy who's been left out of a game because of the same thing, you're going to go, well.
You know what, though?
The hell, dog?
I like that rules are rules. but also sometimes there are some guys who have earned the right and on ability and just the fact that you're a good teammate, like you've proven track record, you let them slide once. You do. And that's why I couldn't be a head coach. Because you heard Coach Cooper, it killed him. He didn't want to do it. He had to do it because rules are rules. Rules are rules. And if we don't have rules, we have chaos. This is what I try to tell my brother about societal norms. If we don't have them, we have chaos.
Dude, if you don't pay the price when you mess up, the next thing you know, you're Aaron Hernandez.
Wow. I was going to say Casey Warner, but you really went there. This is a big first segment, man.
So, no, listen, I gotta tell you, we don't have a ton of time, but so last night after we were up for a little bit, Heidi and I.
Oh, yeah?
After the Lightning game, do you know what we watched?
The Aaron Hernandez?
There's a show on ID. You can get it on Max called Murder Under the Friday Night Lights about like people around high school football doing really dumb stuff and killing each other and that kind of thing. Well, there was one in particular special 2 hours that I taped, I don't know, whatever, on YouTube TV, specifically about Aaron Hernandez. And it shows like him in high school in like a team photo. And it's him and the two dudes next to him, all three of them dead, all three of them murderers.
Wow.
Like insane. And this, he grew up in Bristol, Connecticut, like right where ESPN is. They had, what is her name? Sarniak, that was on ESPN for a long time. She was a part of it. It was really interesting. Like one of his teammates, the guy, like right around when Aaron went to prison, because they played a phone call of him talking to somebody from prison about it happening. The guy shot his wife and then himself. And then the other teammate, just in 22, which Aaron Hernandez went away in like 17, just in like 22 a few years ago, this guy, this lunatic, the other teammate, he called the cops and said that there was like an altercation between him and his brother at his house so that the police would come. There was nothing going on at his house. He was waiting in the like woods next to his house and ambushed the police, murdered 2 cops.
Why are you telling me this right now?
I don't know, because the show was fascinating, and I thought you and our listeners would be interested. You can watch it.
No, I don't want to watch that. I have no interest in Aaron Hernandez.
I don't know. I'm fascinated.
I have
by
no
that
interest.
stuff.
I don't like that type of stuff. I don't know why. Alec Vega.
What kind of stuff?
Like the murder and the true crime and the stuff where people are getting murdered and shooting guns at people. I don't like it.
I'm fascinated by crazy people.
Like that's why I don't like people who are like, you gotta watch Dexter. I'm like, no, I don't.
I love Dexter.
I don't need to watch that.
Dexter's so good. When you were out, I did Darn Things I Like. The new Dexter that's out. Love it.
On YouTube right now, more important than all of this, Alec Vega in the chat, Morning Goonies, love the show. It's his birthday today.
Whoa.
Yeah, happy birthday, Alec.
Dude, what do we do for a Goon's happy birthday?
Not talk about Aaron Hernandez for the next 2 hours.
Well, I wasn't going to do it for 2 hours.
2:45.
I'll bet you somebody heard it and is like, that sounds interesting. I'm going to watch it.
Acid Scars says on YouTube on the chat, rules are meant to be broken. Yeah, that's how you got your acid scars.
I have so many questions about that name because there's something behind it.
Yeah, you broke rules and now you're scarred by acid.
Well, scarred for life, probably. Speaking of scarred for life, Casey Warner has today's top headlines coming up on the other side. Corey, Walt the Guard, if you can hang through today's top headlines, we'll take your calls about 6:30. We'll take your calls if you want to get in line as well, 888-546-4620. But
top headlines.
Time for today's top headlines, brought to you by KC Warner's Very Intelligent Dome. I want to share the top headline Aaron just shared with me, but I really can't.
You cannot.
Casey, we'll tell you during the break because I know you'll be very impressed.
Rules are rules.
Is your mouth raw too, Aaron?
No, my mouth is not raw. That's a weird question.
Okay.
That should be one of today's top headlines. Tell everybody why your mouth is raw this morning,
What a
Casey
weird
Warner.
question. We're like, Pat's like things we can't talk about in the air. You're like, is your mouth raw too?
Yeah.
What happened?
So anybody
Horrible.
anybody that's a sour candy connoisseur like I am knows that if you eat too much sour candy, it destroys your mouth. And I ate about, I would say, at least half the box of Sour Patch Kids last night.
I'm glad you clarified that to everyone.
Yeah, I had to, and it was very good. I'm a very big Sour Patch Kids fan.
I like them, but I can't eat any like chocolate candy.
they're
I
so
can't
good.
eat that much. I like it. Like I like with Reese's, they give you too much. Like 1, maybe 2 is enough. 4, and if you get, isn't there
That's
8?
the
Are
king
you
size.
talking about Reese's peanut butter cups?
Yeah,
The
They
king
come,
size
the
is
normal
4,
size is
just
2.
yeah, like 2, and then some people get 4.
Yeah, that's the king size.
That's an insane.
So don't get the king
I
size.
get the regular
by
size,
the end,
fatty.
by the end of the second one, I'm done. Like I don't want any more Reese's.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, you're alone, by the way. A
Yeah,
lot of
you
people
are.
could eat 40 of those.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
If they were healthy, I could eat. I could eat them all day.
If you offered to pay me money to eat 10 right now, I bet I couldn't do it. It's a lot.
I could do it by the end of the
I
segment.
like the big cups, like the fatter edition of
Yes.
the normal ones.
Yes.
Yeah. Get the caramel big cup.
You got to put them in the
and
fridge.
That too, and that'll be life changing. Get the caramel big cup. Oh, not the chips ones, the pretzel ones. No, none of that wacky
No,
stuff.
actually, I think the chips ones and the pretzel ones are very
Really?
good.
I haven't had them.
This
So
is what happens when the Bucs lose.
yeah,
When the season's over.
right. All right, so it is Tampa Bay Lightning season though, and as you all stated in the opening segment, 6-2 was the final last night. Disappointing loss for the Lightning. The over hit. I believe you all took the over yesterday, isn't that right?
Yep.
Yep, the over was 5.5. That definitely hit without a doubt.
It's not the way I said it was going to happen.
Yeah, and with that being said, the Lightning are now tied with the Boston Bruins in the Atlantic Division point standings with 49 apiece. They are both 6 behind the Florida Panthers, who have 55, and Toronto's on top with 56. And then the Ottawa Senators trail the Lightning and the Bruins with 47 points. The upcoming schedule for the Lightning is as follows. They have the Anaheim Ducks coming to town on Thursday night at 7 p.m. And then the Detroit Red Wings also coming to town to Amalie Arena on Saturday at 7 p.m., which shortly after that, they will go on a Canadian road trip next week.
Yeah, you just watched that loss away last night. You didn't have Braden Point because of the healthy scratch, missing the team meeting earlier in the day and not playing in that game. You got it done against them last week in a great game, and then you lose this one.
This point of the season, you wash them all away. You're moving on. You're growing. You're still a hockey team that's finding its way with new pieces, and you gotta keep winning games and munching points because you got to hang in that playoff race. But nothing that happens at this point of the season, outside of if you go on a streak that's going to knock you out of the playoff race, is really going to impact who they are heading into the playoffs, assuming that they get there.
Got to munch points and get point back. I think that's the key. Points on points on points.
That's it.
Good point.
Yeah, good point, right? Well, a good point is not the Cowboys head coaching job. You heard Troy Aikman say it yesterday. It's not a coveted job anymore, and apparently that is also true for former tight end Jason Witten. So according to NFL media reports on Tuesday night, Jerry Jones had spoken with future Cowboys Hall of Fame tight end Jason Witten, and the 11-time Pro Bowler was part of the plan for McCarthy's second Cowboys coaching contract. Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys, of course, parted ways. That is no longer going to be the situation there in Dallas. And apparently, Mike McCarthy's new contract said that Jason Witten was going to be the heir to Mike McCarthy. And that then drove Jason Witten away. He does not want to be the coach now for the Cowboys. So Troy Aikman speaks no lies. Sounds like nobody wants to be the Cowboys coach.
Listen, it is if you look at the current situation with the Dallas Cowboys, with their salary cap situation, with who they have, there's a lot of reasons to argue that it is not a great job. And I thought I was listening to Dan Patrick after our show yesterday, Aaron, when I left on my way home, and I thought Dan Patrick put it perfectly yesterday. There is a huge difference between a great job and a prestigious job. And he made the point, if the Yankees job were to open up, would it really be a great job given all of the circumstances? And he said the Dallas Cowboys even more so. Is it a great job? It's a prestigious job, but it's not, especially right now when you look at the situation in Dallas, it's not a great job.
Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. You've got stars.
Yeah, great. But you've got to be able to put a team around them, as you've seen for years in Dallas.
And that's part of it. But it starts.
And by the way, they have to pay Micah Parsons still if they want to keep him around.
And you'd be idiots to not pay Micah Parsons.
Well, and then they even less money to go around. They're just getting more expensive. They're not getting better.
Yeah, well, that's true. A lot of the guys are getting more expensive. That's the problem. It's always been like that way. Going back, Dak, Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb. It's constantly like that.
But Dak's new contract is massive. He's 32. He's not moving like he used to move. He's just like
injury after injury.
They're in a really tough spot because they've got to make that roster a lot better. And with what money? Especially after you pay Micah Parsons. Again, that job right now is not that attractive.
What happened?
Prestigious, though.
Jason Witten fell off. Now, Jerry Jones.
What do you mean he fell off?
Like, you know how a lot of guys are like up and coming, and like Olsen as an analyst and color guys. He was coming up with Monday Night Football, and then all of a sudden, that just like they blew that thing up.
Yeah.
Remember, it was like Booger.
I never remember being impressed by him. There's guys that right away, Pat McAfee, the first time I saw him on television, I was like, this dude's going to be a star. Greg Olsen, when he called that game during a bye week while he was still playing football, I went, this guy's fantastic, right? I don't remember ever having that feeling about Jason Witten. I don't think he was bad.
Did. People liked him at first, and then it wasn't, and then they didn't like him.
I don't ever remember thinking he was bad either, which I've seen guys where I'm like, this ain't it. But I don't remember feeling that about Jason Witten, but I also don't remember being impressed.
If you're Jerry Jones, how could that even be on your mind to bring him in as a head coach?
I mean, he's allegedly calling Dion.
Yeah, Dion has head coaching experience in college. Dion is
coached in high school. That's it.
Oh, you're great.
Yeah.
You're great. You coached in high school.
A bit of experience.
High school.
Look around sports. He's not. I mean, there's guys.
Michael Vick over at Norfolk State.
That idiot.
Your next NFL head coach, Mike Vick.
That idiot got a coaching job.
That's pretty bad.
Deshaun Jackson got a coaching job. I won't even call him an idiot. There's things I actually like about Deshaun. His mom especially. His mom's a wonderful woman. But there's a lot of guys getting jobs. What the hell's his name? In Los Angeles, the Lakers coach was doing a podcast with LeBron a couple months ago.
JJ Redick.
Thank you, JJ Redick. And people think he's brilliant, and maybe he is. But you know what?
That's another one. I don't get, like, I like the way I think he understands people.
Doug Gottlieb is still doing sports talk radio.
It's ridiculous that Gottlieb got a job. It's like, just let Pat go into meetings with Jason Light. Why don't you?
That sounds like a good idea. The coverage we could get. If that happened.
The all-time response from him to you in a text is just the greatest.
It was.
The greatest shutdown of all time.
Yeah.
The greatest denial that ever was.
I want to cry about it. I do.
I want to laugh about
Tom Brady. It was funny. It was very fun. When I saw, like I said, I was sitting at the kitchen table doing something, and I look over and I see that I got a text, and I see that it's Butthead from Beavis and Butthead, and I'm like, all right, what's that about?
By the way, I've seen the text Pat sent to Jason Light. It was like a book.
It wasn't a book.
It was a book. Poor guy.
Listen, here's the thing. I just separated thoughts instead of, if you send somebody one big paragraph, that's hard to read.
The fact that he responded to you after that ridiculous 7-page thought bubble.
Heck of a guy, heck of a GM. Doesn't want to give me the behind the scenes coverage though.
He goes, and he has an iPhone.
I bet he has an iPhone, but Pat wouldn't know because he's over there on Android.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God.
I was going to ask you, does he have blue messages, but it doesn't make a difference to you because you're Android.
See, this is what happens.
It doesn't make a difference.
This is what I don't like, and I have an Apple. There's a shaming culture from people that have iPhones that just it doesn't sit well with me.
The funny thing is that they're not better. They're not
people that just
better.
think they're part of a club.
What is it? Green Bubble Club?
The iMessage fan club.
Yeah.
blue messages.
By the way,
Secure green
you know
messages.
why they're different colors, right? Because Apple has forever refused
different
to
servers.
upgrade their technology to the safer technology that Android uses. But that's for another.
Somebody was talking about this. Maybe it was Zuckerberg. Somebody was talking about this the other day.
About how Androids are safer?
No, about how
better?
like Apple is just like it's just I forgot who it was, but like making money, essentially like figuring out how to get into people like Casey Warner's mind, even though Casey's supposed to be a nonconformist.
Yeah,
He's
right.
got into Casey's
No,
mind.
they have. From the jump. I had the old iPod Nano, then I had the Touch. Now I have the iPhone, and I've had like 6 different models. So it happens.
I almost made the switch once, and I was like just about to buy the phone, and I said to the guy like, "Oh wait, hey, if I want to hook this up to my laptop, so I can transfer music over the phone and transfer files from the phone to my laptop. I don't have the Apple laptop, whatever the hell that thing is. Like, do I need something else?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, you're gonna have to buy this connector to put it into your laptop.
It's all a racket.
Also, this connector to plug it into your car, and this." And I'm like, "Wait, no, I don't need any of that for an Android.
Yeah,
I don't need any of that.
It's the Apple racket.
Yeah. So enjoy your bubbles, whatever the hell color they are. Enjoy those bubbles.
The
Those
strongest mafia on the planet is Apple.
very unsafe bubbles, by the way. They're unsafe. Hey, Tom Brady, he's safe. I bet he's got an Android. Maybe not. He is Tom Brady. Could he be poaching someone from the Buccaneers? We'll get into that on the other side. But Aaron.
But first, let me tell you about your future and what you need to worry about when it comes to your future, and that's retirement planning. And Trajan Wealth is going to help you out with that. TRAJAN Wealth.com. And we've gotten ourselves into the new year here. You're all coming up with resolutions. Well, you don't need to come up with a resolution. You just need to think about your future. And Trajan Wealth, you don't have to think much. They're going to take all that stress off your plate. They're going to walk you through it. They're going to dive into what is going on in your world as far as your values, your risk tolerance, and they're going to help you prepare for tomorrow with that retirement plan. Wealth management, retirement planning, that's what Trajan Wealth is here to help you with. TrajanWealth.com is where you can find out more information. They've got offices conveniently located near you in Tampa. So give them a call today and book that appointment. 813-550-1000. That initial consultation is free, so I'm going to give you the number again. 813-550-1000. A family-owned and veteran-led business by Jeff Jr. and the good people over at Trajan Wealth. They're going to help you develop a plan that gives you peace of mind. So no need to wait. TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor, paid average.
Aaron Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Pat Aaron, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. Tom Brady, our old friend. He brought us a Super Bowl, and we'll never forget that. He certainly changed, I think, a lot about the Buccaneers franchise and the way that it has been looked at since he's been here. And now, apparently, he could change the Buccaneers franchise yet again. And in a way that would not make us happy. If you've not seen the news since yesterday, John Spytek is going to interview for the general manager job with the Las Vegas Raiders. And it wasn't all that long ago that Tom Brady was right here in Tampa Bay calling a Buccaneers game. Do you think that dirty SOB was doing a little tampering, was getting his little fingers dirty? What do you think? Did you see Tom Krasnicki, by the way, and his take on Tom Brady?
No.
So I saw Tom on the social medias, a point that he made on the drive. And he said that Tom Brady, he believes, first of all, that the Super Bowl will be Tom Brady's final broadcast.
I speculated that and I did see that post. I speculated that last week, saying that and we've heard these reports that, like, if the way things are going, he's not going to do this anymore.
So it's a conflict of interest for him to be in the booth and be able to talk to guys the way that he should do if he were an analyst, which he is, of course. And so there's some speculation that the league is going to step in and tell him you can't do this anymore, or he's just going to say, hey, I can't do this because he's a minority owner of the Raiders. And not just like, it's one thing if you're a minority owner who's just going to like stand back and you know, take the money and all that stuff, but not really be involved. But him being involved in the search for the coach and the GM and all this stuff, like, clearly it's not just any minority owner.
Let me ask you something, Pat. And maybe this is a dumb question, but I have a lot.
They're
of
my
them.
favorites.
Why is it a conflict of interest, let's say for an owner, part-time owner, whatever, to be an owner of a team and also be an analyst in a TV booth?
Well, because you're getting insight and building relationships with people in the NFL that you can turn around and benefit from in that role as an owner / executive.
Boom.
Right?
That's a great point. That's a great reason.
Let's just say, for instance, there's a really big name free agent who's coming up at the end of the season, and now Tom's got his game now it's not that he's necessarily going to use that time to interview that player,
but they're building that chemistry, that relationship where I totally see that. I absolutely see it. And as a guy who I think relationships are important and building blocks to those relationships, it doesn't just mean walking into a room being like, hey man, next year you coming?
Yeah.
It means like, hey, we're having a conversation about the game this week, but we actually have good chemistry, and you can harness that and use that relationship later to benefit you.
I might ask a couple questions though. Like, hey, you know, like, let's say we were interviewing Liam Cohen today on our show. Now, I'm not a minority owner in the Buccaneers, but if I were, and actually just as a Buccaneers fan, I might say, by the way, Liam, have you by any chance checked into the background of one Trent Baalke? I don't know that I'd want to work for that guy. And again, Tom's not going to angle things to that level.
But you've got Spytek, who has a second interview coming up with the Titans.
Yep.
And now an interview with the Raiders. You got Greenberg, who's got the interview who interviewed with the Jets.
Which one of those situations, if you're John Spytek and you're going to take the job, let's not say stay in Tampa Bay. Let's leave that off the table.
It's not even close. It's the Raiders.
Yeah.
It's not even close. And a lot of it is your
they're both defunct of talent, really, for the most part.
And I think a lot of it is your relationship. Now, I don't know what his relationship is to the people in Tennessee, but I do know he has a relationship with Tom Brady, right? It led to them winning a Super Bowl. It led to Tom coming to Tampa and winning a Super Bowl. So
I don't know if he came here because of Spytek.
I said in part, right? I think it was Jason Light. I think it was Arians. I think it was Spytek. I think it was the situation.
I don't know how well he knew Spytek. He obviously knew Jason Light, you know.
They were together. They've known each other for years going way back. I forgot the exact tie. I'm going to look that up, but they do have ties with each other. But yeah, either way, like they have a connection now. They built something together. So,
and there's no doubt that Spytek was a big part of working that. I'm sure that him and Greenberg both that contract for Tom Brady.
And that's right. And this is what it was. And I knew it was a big tie. They were college teammates.
Wow, that I did not know.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, they were college teammates together. So
I think he probably knows him a little bit then.
So they have a relationship. So if you think that
Spytek was a Wolverine, I had no idea.
So if you don't think that Spytek had a part in him coming to Tampa, you're crazy.
Well, obviously now.
Yeah. But Jason Light back in the New England days, like there's a lot of factors I think that played a part, including most importantly the roster for Tom Brady to come to Tampa Bay, and in turn I think we might see if Spytek wants the best opportunity for him, why wouldn't it be under somebody who you have a relationship and trust and chemistry with?
No doubt about it. And again, an organization that just being in Vegas, there's something about that team that eventually I think it's going to work out because of the draw of, like, wouldn't you want to, if you're a professional athlete and you can play and live in Las Vegas and the team is actually worth a damn, you would want to go there.
Yeah.
You would want, like, as a young,
I would.
A lot of them single professional athletes, like, that'd be a great place to live and play if the team was worth a damn. Right now, they're just not. But they'll get there. They'll get there with Brady's help and, unfortunately, potentially with John Spytek's help. Hopefully not, but we'll see. All right, when we return, if you didn't see it, this is actually pretty hilarious this weekend, what happened in the Eagles game with A.J. Brown. If you didn't see what he was doing on the sideline, you've got to hear this next. You'll probably be shocked also at what happened in result of what he was doing on the
On 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Sal Paolantonio joining us in a few minutes. We'll see if he's jumped on board with the latest trend in Philadelphia, which happened after this weekend. This is one of the funniest things I've seen and read in a while. If you missed it, on the sidelines during the Eagles game this Sunday, at one point, A.J. Brown was seen reading a book. Many speculated that he was angry or frustrated. He commented on that after the game, said he wasn't at all. But he was reading the book Inner Excellence, which is a self-help book, which before A.J. Brown had been reading it on the sideline, was not ranked. Listen to this. That book, Inner Excellence, was not ranked in the top 500,000 books on Amazon. There were over 523,000 books ranked higher than Inner Excellence on Amazon. But A.J. Brown, apparently this author is fairly popular, and A.J. Brown knew about it and was reading this book, Inner Excellence, during the game to try to, I guess, gain some insight, or I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he was reading the book, ranked not even in the top 523,000 books on Amazon. And after
he said it just helps center him during games.
Yeah. Well, after A.J. Brown was centered by that book on television, Eagles fans, and I'm sure a lot of other people, they went to Amazon, and now after being ranked not in the top 523,000 books on Amazon, he is the author of Inner Excellence, and the book Inner Excellence is now number one.
Casey,
on Amazon.
I want to try to get this author on. I want to find.
That's a good idea.
I want to find out for that author what this ride was like. Because and this is the beauty of social media for a lot of people right now. All it takes is one moment. And if
one shining moment.
And if A.J. Brown doesn't read that book on the sideline during a playoff game, this author never gets his book shot to number one, or her. I don't even know. Is it he?
I believe it's a him.
And I want to know how much money you were making off being not outside the top 500,000 to shooting to number one. Like, what does your bank account look like after that? It's got to be great.
He talked about how he started getting like text messages from people and people reaching out to him like, did you see? Did you see what happened?
You know who I bet bought it?
Eagles fans?
Well, yeah, but Chris Mathis.
I was going to say Mathis.
It seems like a very Chris Mathis kind of book.
I was going to say Chris Mathis. Did you guys see Jalen Hurts' response to all this?
No.
I don't know if he was kidding. Let's look it up on Twitter real fast, Casey. Let's get it up real fast. Let's get the audio of it, because I'm going to say what he said, and I want you guys to hear how he said it. And I don't think he was kidding. Jalen Hurts said after, quote, "I've never seen him read, but I've seen the book in his hands."
That's funny.
But I don't know
if
he
was upside down.
I don't know if he was joking. And we've heard about, now if anyone else on this team says this, I'm not reading too much into it. But everything we've heard about the relationship and how it's soured between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, to the media, not the greatest joke. Here's Jalen Hurts.
No, I'm going to be honest with you, though. To me, if I make that joke about somebody, that's somebody that, like, we're pretty close.
Maybe
like,
it's not a joke, though. Listen to how he says it. Listen,
right.
Here it is.
I've never seen him read. I've seen the book in his hands. Everybody has a different thing and finds their flow in different ways. So that's how we choose.
That's not a joke. Like, he's just talking.
Yeah.
Somebody in the Rams locker room needs to find a way to steal that book on Sunday so they'll lose.
That's pretty good,
That's
man.
what I want.
That's pretty good.
Forget about the playbook. Get Inner Excellence.
Get the book.
Do we agree, though, that he didn't say that, and I don't know how his humor is, but how dry it is, because if that's a joke, that's as dry a delivery as you can get. I mean, he sounded serious.
Weird.
Listen to it again. Casey, let's play that again.
Finds their flow in different ways.
Beginning of it.
Beginning, yeah.
I've never seen him read. I've seen the book in his hands. Everybody, different thing.
You sound serious.
Finds their flow in different ways. So that's how we choose to.
That's not he's met.
It's really weird.
Really bizarre. That quote, I've never seen him read, but I've seen a book in his hands.
I'm starting to think Jalen Hurts really sucks.
He might.
I'm starting to, and I'm not talking about as a quarterback. I'm talking about as a dude. Like, does that sound like a dude you want?
No.
In the locker room?
Have fun with it. Unless, like I said, unless I'm reading his humor incorrectly and he's just very dry. But that statement alone, like, you got to be a pretty big jerk if you're serious to go, I've seen him with a book in his hands, but I've never seen him read. How would you know? How do you know? Are you saying he can't read? Like, I don't know.
I don't think he's saying he can't read. It's very, very odd.
And then Nick Sirianni is telling the media that it's lazy journalism, lazy media, to be trying to read into this at all. Dude, Sirianni, you're an idiot. Nobody does this. And of course, if A.J. Brown, in the middle of what we think looks like frustration, is reading a book about how to zen himself on the sideline, yeah, I would think it's a pretty good speculation.
I think it's pretty fair speculation. And again, I don't know. I'm starting to think it's fair speculation that Jalen Hurts sucks. That Jalen Hurts sucks as a dude.
If he's serious there, then yes, he does suck. And if he's serious there, he's got issues with with A.J. Brown. And you're an idiot if you knowingly, the conversation has been about your relationship and how fractured it is with A.J. Brown, and you would knowingly go out there and say something like that, saying he doesn't read, but he's got a book in his hands. This is what I'm saying with Philadelphia. They're a mess. I wish the Bucs were still in it. Give me Philly all day. Stop the run, and you're winning that game.
Yeah.
And that's what the Bucs excel at on defense.
I still think they're dangerous. I don't understand what the hell the deal is with Jalen Hurts, because he's very, very weird.
Maybe the hate is fueling them. I don't know.
On the Bartow Ford DAE text line, Jalen is dry with the Philadelphia media as it is, but he's actually a really funny guy off the field.
Didn't sound funny.
I mean, yeah. If that was the attempt at humor, it was an odd one. Let's get Corey in Nashville in before the break. Corey, good morning.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I just think Jalen Hurts is sick of A.J. Brown, to be honest. I mean, A.J. Brown does something almost every week. They haven't lost a game in a while. And, they lost to Washington, but you get what I'm trying to say. A.J. Brown finds a reason to complain about every damn thing. He makes me 1,000% appreciate every fiber that is Mike Evans.
Yep.
A.J. Brown is just, he's so annoying. So, Tampa real quick. It's kind of crazy that we lost that game the way that we did, because if you look at some of our biggest losses this season, all of them actually, that one playoff game was a microcosm of our losses of this year. Yep. A random turnover, like if you go to the Atlanta games, random turnovers causes those games. You go to San Fran, Kansas City, the defense couldn't get a critical stop in a critical moment. And it all culminated to that loss. However, I'm excited for a few things. Organizationally, we got one of the best organizations in the NFL. When have we been able to say that going into an offseason about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? We have the best quarterback in the division. I know Penix is the hot new thing, but if you couple Penix with the Falcons organization, they're probably going to have another average season. Tampa has created a culture of winning and an expectation of winning. We had some issues in key moments this year where our coach looked, a little bewildered when it came to clock management. We'll say overall game management, not just clock management. We'll say game management. And we had an OC that was a rookie play caller, and we started to see that maybe after the bye week. Like when we went into that first Carolina game, we started to kind of see some cracks in how Liam Cohen wanted to call plays and dissect and be a play caller. But, a rookie play caller, I hope to God we get to bring him back and we have another year of continuity for the first time in quite a few years.
So do we, Corey?
Frankly.
Corey, I don't want to cut you off, but we've got Sal Paolantonio coming up on the other side. We do have to hit this break. I always appreciate your phone call. That's Corey in Nashville. And again, when we return, we'll be talking all NFL playoffs and NFL football with the great Sal Paolantonio.
Team than Saquon Barkley. And by the way, it's not just what he does on the field. Saquon Barkley is a leader in the locker room, and you've heard since he's left New York, that was a big part. They've admitted it, that in New York, for the Giants organization, losing that leadership, losing that voice was so detrimental to them.
Now, I will say, I don't know why, in the Giants' defense, it wasn't about necessarily, in my opinion, Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. It was really just about Saquon. It was just about the fact that they didn't want to overpay for the running back position, which is a position where guys usually don't keep getting better.
Because they overpaid for the quarterback position is what happened, and that's why it's related.
I don't. I think that you're going to pay a quarterback a lot of money either way, and that situation's always going to be what it is. But you could have still paid Saquon Barkley. When you look at what he got in Philadelphia, the Giants could have made that work, in their opinion. And you know what? To an extent, at the state of their franchise, as badly as they sucked, maybe the investment in Saquon Barkley wouldn't have made a ton of sense, right? You can make that argument that a great running back on a dog-you-know-what team doesn't do you a lot of good. Mm-hmm. So that investment maybe didn't make sense for the Giants. Now, if Giants fans should hate it, I can't imagine being happy that Saquon walked away and especially went to Philadelphia. But you can make the argument that investment, a guy like Saquon Barkley and a great running back, it's perfect for a team like Philadelphia that can win it all. Not always that great for a team that sucks anyways.
To your point, it's why I never, ever was even top 10. I don't think it's ever a good idea to draft a running back unless you somehow, because of picks in the past and whatever, you ended up with that top 10 pick, even though you're one of the top teams or you're a contender or you're a piece away. Yeah. You're a piece away, fine, go get that running back. If you're the Giants when you got Saquon Barkley,
what did that do for you?
It's not going to help you at all.
What did that do for you? Look, I mean, we can go historically all the way back to like Barry Sanders, right? One of my favorite examples, kind of halfway in between, was MJD, Maurice Jones-Drew. The dude was a great running back for a little while in Jacksonville. Didn't make them any good, right? Like, we've seen great running backs on bad teams forever. Great wide receivers on bad teams forever. You've got to be good inside. You've got to be good. Yeah, you've got to be good on the offensive line. You've got to be good on the defensive line. And if you're not, that investment in the running back may not make sense. Now, again, do I think the Giants should have probably tried to hold on to Saquon Barkley? I do, because he's that good of a player. But from a strictly football standpoint, you can understand the argument of that kind of money invested in the running back position for this football team that's not very good doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it depends on where it helps you. Like Gurley actually did help. That team was young, and they actually found a little bit of a run there. Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, he's a draft pick too.
Yeah, but I'm saying these guys, these draft picks, sometimes it's not the best to get them high in the draft. Ezekiel Elliott, that offensive line came together like after they drafted Zeke, and they were good. And they could run the ball effectively. If you can't run the ball effectively, there's no point. If your offensive line is in shambles, there's no point.
And that's the thing. They were in Dallas, and at that point was investing in the offensive line and putting together a very good one. And once you do, you see what can happen behind it, just like we're watching here. The offensive line is so good. And that's why I do believe, and I'm hoping like everyone else, that Liam Cohen doesn't go anywhere. But that's why I do believe when it comes to Liam Cohen that if he were to take a job somewhere, that the Buccaneers would be okay.
Hoping to get Sal Paolantonio on here in just a little bit. If you went to sleep early last night, the Bruins took care of business against the Lightning 6-2. They started out, opened up a 4-goal lead, and had the two shorthanded empty netters and beat the Lightning 6-2. The big storyline, no Braden Point in that game as the Lightning had to sit him, a healthy scratch because he missed a team meeting before the morning skate. So
I like it.
One of the top scorers in the league, not available for the Lightning last night. Rules are rules. Coach Cooper knows that. Rules are rules. So hate to miss him. I know Coach Cooper felt bad about it.
You're a rules guy.
I'm a rules guy.
You love rules.
I do love rules. I love structure.
On the Bartow, this is interesting to me, Aaron. On the Bartow 4 DAE text line, once Pat puts someone on the list, he hates them for life. So let me save Jalen Hurts. He has that deadpan humor like Stephen Wright. He was joking. The media up here knew it and joked about it also. Jalen is a good dude. Thanks. The media up here. Are you listening from Philadelphia on the iHeartRadio app or YouTube or what?
I'll take
that's all. Like,
listen,
no, I just want to thank someone listening from Philadelphia.
I know, but just talking about the actual text.
No, but can I thank them?
Hey, thank you for listening from Philadelphia. we really do appreciate that, actually. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's one of the cool things about the iHeartRadio app, which, by the way, you can check out all the new presets.
New and improved.
Very easy to have your favorite stations up there wherever you are, even in Philadelphia. So thank you. But, I'll take your word for it. I'm not one to say, this is how it was. I don't know Jalen Hurts. I'm not covering the Eagles. I'm not in that locker room. So I don't know the emotions of these guys and the type of humor they have. So if you tell me that was a joke, I'll take your word for it. I will, but it didn't sound like a joke.
Yeah. To me, how dumb could you be? And you'd have, like you were talking about, like you'd have to be an idiot. You'd have to be an idiot, not just to do it, not just to call out a teammate and make it clear that you don't like a guy and that you don't believe in whatever the hell shenanigans he's pulling on the sidelines, because that's what it makes it sound like. If you're saying he's not reading the book, you're basically saying that he's pulling some nonsense.
Yeah.
Right? And if you were to do that publicly, I think it's a bad idea in the regular season. If you do that publicly in the playoffs, you're an absolute lunatic. There's something wrong with you to blow up your own locker room in the middle of the playoffs. So I tend to believe that only because it would be, I don't want to say career suicide, but like it would be just for the team for that season. You're not asking for any good results if you're doing that stuff.
Going back to the text, the list that he spoke of, that you hate people and they're on the list.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. Michael Vick's on that list.
Michael Vick makes the list.
He's like the top of the list.
Leonard Little's right there.
I was just about to say Leonard Little.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who else on this
list?
list?
I opened your eyes to Leonard Little back in the day.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate because he was one of my favorite St. Louis Rams.
I'm sorry to hear that, but he was a piece of crap.
Well, he went to Tennessee.
And for anybody who doesn't know, Leonard Little killed a woman drunk driving and then got arrested for drunk driving again. And listen, I've said before on this show, I'm not going to, like, people, I bet you have people in your life that you love that have been drunk driving that you don't write off as human beings. So I'm not saying you should write somebody off as a human being if they get caught drunk driving, because it's a mistake a lot of people have made. But if you kill someone drunk driving and you can still bring yourself to do it again, it tells me you have no conscience whatsoever. And by the way, there was a guy that covered the Rams, a photographer that covered the Rams. It was his wife.
Wow.
And the guy still had to photograph that team. He refused to photograph Leonard Little. But to me, you do that and then you go out and drunk drive again, like, you're a scumbag. You have no conscience. You have no soul.
Who else is on the list? Text him because I'm drawing a blank here. I know a couple weeks ago there was somebody else that we were talking about. I'm like, you really hate that person. 82945. Start your text with DAE. I forgot who it was.
That's going to drive
Cam Jordan.
No,
I don't listen. Cam Jordan, I actually think overall seems like a pretty good dude.
It's not like
one of those guys.
Hate.
Yeah,
we're talking real hate,
dude. Thank you. There's such a difference. And sports hate, by the way, is okay, right? Like, I hate Cam Jordan as a saint, as a trash talker, as a human being. He seems like actually a pretty good dude. So there's definitely no actual hate there.
82945. Start your text with DAE.
Who's Pat hate? I don't even know if I hate Antonio Brown.
He's a lunatic,
He's
but
an
I don't.
idiot.
Yeah, he's not somebody I would want to be around. But I don't hate him. I don't think he's a good guy at all.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's close to a good guy.
On that note, Rossi Day?
No.
I almost love Rossi Day in a way.
I love Rossi Day. I haven't heard from him in months, man.
Like, Pat's got my list is a joke. Pat thinks Tom Izzo's on my list. It's not there.
I know it's not there, too.
I don't want anything bad to happen to Sister Jean. I just don't like her. I don't know. I know it sucks to say that you don't like someone who's over the age of 100.
Like, the legitimate hate that I have for somebody like Leonard Little or for somebody like a Michael Vick. Like,
there's someone else on that list.
It's a very small list, and I don't even know of anybody that you hate at that level.
No. I don't.
OJ?
You know what? Yes. What the hell was his first name? Not OJ, but yes, OJ. I mean, listen, the guy murdered his wife. On the Bartow Ford DAE, that's such a weird list that we're putting together here. On the Bartow Ford DAE text line, woman beater Hardy. I don't know why I can't think of his first name, but Greg Hardy's a piece of crap for sure. Listen, anybody that beats women,
Ray Rice.
Anybody that beats women, absolutely is, like, for me. I don't have any patience for that.
What about Adrian Peterson?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know enough about it.
It's such a that's such a fine line. You know what I mean? the whole switch thing. Like a lot of people grew up that way, and I don't know that I immediately think somebody's an absolute piece of crap for doing it because it's a way that a lot of people grew up. But
True.
It's not.
But you could say the same thing about Mike Vick with dogs.
No, you can't.
I know.
Torturing animals
I
for fun and
but it's part
disciplining
of
your
a culture.
children.
I know they're different. I know, but the whole culture thing. I know it's a stupid.
Listen, if your culture is part of your culture is torture, then yeah, your culture is garbage, and so are you.
Because a lot of people said the same thing with Wander Franco. Part of that culture over there is what
It's like when people say, "Oh, well,
cool.
it's the culture in some places to treat women like pieces of crap." Well, you know what? Then your culture is garbage.
That I see one on the text line that I think's in the group on your list. Urban Meyer. He's close to your list.
Herb's a piece of crap for sure. He's not quite.
There's some people
women beater or like animal torturer piece of crap. You know
there's
what I mean?
behind bars piece of crap that you belong behind bars, and then there's Urban Meyer who doesn't belong behind bars, but he's just a piece of crap and he kicks the legs of his players.
Yeah, you're disgusting, but I don't really. It's not that level of hate.
How much do you hate this idea, Pat? A floating ballpark with stands floating in the water. You can move them around. Should the Rays consider this? You might think it's crazy.
And AM 620.
Lucky enough to have special guests from ESPN's Sal Paolantonio joining us right now, and really appreciate you joining us, Sal. We were just talking about it. We'll get right into it. We were just talking about A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown reading the book on the sideline. Now, we don't know. We're not in that locker room. I don't know Jalen Hurts. He made a joke after the game, maybe, I don't know, about seeing A.J. Brown with a book before, but never seeing him read. Are we reading into this too much, that there's this fractured relationship we heard about between these two?
Reading into it, pun not intended. Is that where you're going?
Exactly.
Hey, listen, whatever gets you through the night, whatever floats your boat, right? I think in this day and age, it's pretty clear that coaches will pretty much tolerate anything if it looks like it's going to better their mind or their focus. As Nick Sirianni said, some guys pray on the sideline, some guys meditate. This was very unorthodox. I've been watching sports since I was, 10? So that's 58 years. That's a long dang time. I've never seen anybody read a book on the bench or in the dugout during a game. Actually, I never even seen anybody pull a book out even before the game. But it's definitely different. I don't know if Vince Lombardi would like it. I think some old school Bill Parcells probably wouldn't like it. But, you're 2 games away from the Super Bowl. And whether you like it or not, it's what he did. And the book is clearly something that helps him. He stood at his locker, A.J. Brown, and discussed the book with reporters, didn't shy away from it, took total responsibility, said, this is something I do, opened the book up, showed it was underlined and highlighted. So, you got to go with the flow. I mean, I'm the dad of 3 millennials and 4 granddaughters and a couple of son-in-laws. And, you learn to adapt at this age, right? Right? Don't you?
Oh, yeah. Hey, Mark Sanchez ate a hot dog on the sideline, so you never.
Oh yeah, remember that?
Hey, how big of a loss is Nakobe Dean for this football team on Sunday?
I like Aaron Burks a lot, and I'll tell you why. Listen, Nakobe Dean is a great partner in crime for Zach Bond. He's made Zach Bond better. No question about it. Zach Bond was brought in here as a special teamer, part-time situational pass rusher on the outside. Vic Fangio made him an inside linebacker, turned him into an all-pro, but the help of Nakobe Dean was significant. And I interviewed them together and then apart for a Sports Center and Sunday NFL Countdown feature. And you can just tell that they have exquisite leadership skills and communication skills. And Nakobe Dean was wearing a dot on the back of his head, the green dot communicating with Fangio. So significant loss, but I love Aaron Burks. He's 6'3", so he's 4 inches taller than Nakobe Dean. He's about 25 pounds heavier. He's the one that laid the wood on the returner in the opening kickoff return against the Packers, forced fumble, second forced fumble so far this year for him in part-time play. So he can hit people, A. He's got long arms and long legs, B. Can cover a lot of ground, can knock down passes, not afraid to get his nose in there. I like Aaron Burks.
Sal Paolantonio joining us right now. Sal, I'm a big culture guy, and I think it's important to a locker room. Saquon Barkley, we know the ability on the football field and what he can do. What has he done for the culture of this Philadelphia team?
Well, that's a great question. And, that's something I don't get often enough. Great question. I think he has assumed the mantle of leader of the football team. Now, just think about that for a second. Came in free agency. At the beginning was unsure about where he stood. Rattles off 2,000 yards rushing, leads the NFL in rushing, challenges Eric Dickerson's record. And in big games, he's come up big. But now he's really become the vocal leader of the team, standing in front of his locker, setting the message for the team like he did on Sunday night. So we're in the locker room on Sunday night, right, guys? And the Eagles, for most of the game, didn't have much of an offense. Jalen Hurts went 90 minutes of TV time without completing a pass. 90 minutes.
That's wild.
So that's wild. That means I could have gone down, got a pizza at the local pizzeria in South Philadelphia, brought it to the press box, maybe shared a couple of slices with my friends in the press box, but probably not, and made it back in time for his next completion. So that's how bad it was. So we're going in the locker room and we're anticipating a lot of, hey, we got a lot of things to clean up, blah, blah, blah. Wasn't our best performance. Barkley gets up there. Now just picture this, 25 cameras, a lot of reporters. And he says, we got the quarterback. We got the offensive line. We got the kicker. We got the team to go to the Super Bowl. You want to nitpick all you want, but it's all about survive and advance. And that set the tone, man. That really did. It just challenged all of our questions and put them to rest.
Sal, I want to talk a little bit about your relationship with the fans. Of course, you've been covering the NFL for so long. Before I had a press credential and had to act like an adult when I went to football games, whenever I was at games as a fan growing up, a lot of times at the Meadowlands, I grew up a Giants fan, even though I grew up in Massachusetts. Whenever I would see you on the field before games, if I was in the crowd, I was always that idiot that was probably 10 rows back or whatever going, Sal Pal! Sal Pal! Like every time I'd see. Do you love that when you get that from fans, or should idiots like me relax a little bit?
No, I love it. I totally love it. Listen, when you're waving at me with all 5 fingers, that's a good thing. So, yeah, I love it. First of all, I'll tell you why I like it. If the people who watch NFL games and go to NFL games are smart about football and about the NFL and about their teams, I don't think that I have any kind of, monopoly on what's going on in the NFL. So I like interacting with fans, and I always ask them what they think. They will ask me what I think. I turn it back on them and ask them what they think. And more often than not, guys, I get an answer that challenges me to go back and look at something different. And it makes me better. It pays off for ESPN. It definitely pays off for my audience. And I love it. I really do.
Sal, I love that answer because you know this. There's a lot of guys in this industry that think they know everything and that fans are just stupid.
And they're not.
Yep.
They're absolutely not. People have a computer in their pocket. They have access to an immense amount of information. They're playing fantasy football. They're on casino websites. They're making investments with their money and their time in the NFL. And before they do that, they do their research. And I can't spend 24/7. My old lady will kill me. I can't spend 24/7 doing NFL work. I got to have some free time. So I rely on a lot of people and a lot of input beyond what I get from ESPN or coaches. And I just want to say one thing. First of all, you know how much I love coming down to Raymond James. You know how much, Tampa's a home away from home for me. And I want to congratulate Baker Mayfield and Todd Bowles and the Bucs, despite what happened in that football game. Listen, talk about culture. I believe that Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield have set a culture there, despite what happened in the last game, and what happened to me was very bad. I think they've set a culture there that's a foundation of something special. I really think both of them, in different ways, have put the foundation in place so that this team can be successful for a long time. Now, if you're asking me why in the world they are running a reverse jet sweep inside their own 20, I don't know. You got me on that one. I thought that was and I think Liam Cohen's done a great job. That was a terrible play call. You got a rookie wide receiver and you got a reverse jet sweep inside your 20 when you're leading the game, and Bucky Irving is gashing the Commanders. Bad play call.
Yeah, Bucky was just starting to open it up and get that run game really going. Do you think Liam Cohen is, I don't want to ask you if he's ready for a head coaching job, and do you think another team, maybe Jacksonville, will take a chance on him?
I do. I would say yes on both counts. I think he's ready for a head coaching. I got a lot of respect for him despite that play call. All offensive coordinators make bad play calls. That would happen to be at a really bad time. What he did with Baker Mayfield was historic. 41 touchdown passes in the regular season.
Yeah.
Every time, I'm a host of the NFL matchup show. I always love plugging in the tape of the Bucs offense to see how he engineered Mike Evans open over and over again. It's something the Eagles should learn with A.J. Brown. I mean, come on, 3 targets in a wild card game. Listen, you just throw it to A.J. Brown. I don't care if he's open or not. Throw it to Mike Evans. He's going to come down with it. So I think that Liam Cohen, for sure, has earned the right to be in the conversation for a head coaching job. And, if I'm Trevor Lawrence and I have a shot to play for Liam Cohen and his bright mind on offense, I'm happy about that.
I know Bucs fans don't want to hear that, but they're very happy to hear from you. ESPN's Sal Paolantonio, you love coming to Tampa. We love having you on the air and really appreciate you joining us this morning, Sal.
It's been a total pleasure. Your questions were great, and I look forward to coming down there for some spring training, and, I'll see you guys when I get down there.
Looking forward to it. Thanks again, Sal.
Thanks, Sal. Unbelievable.
Good dude, man.
Yeah,
good dude.
Great interview.
Did you hear what he said to me?
Twice. He said it twice.
He said great questions, you all, at the end, so both.
Oh, dude.
Casey.
Give me my flowers,
he did
man.
say it to you first.
He
but
needs this moment,
Give me my
dude.
flowers,
he
bro.
needs this moment. Give it to him.
Like Glenn gets it on the YouTube chat. Someone get Aaron a cigarette. He just got a great question from Sal.
You know what I mean? Like, Casey, sometimes you got 30 points already, and you just got to give the assist.
Yeah, come on,
You know
dude.
what I mean? Sometimes you got to toss it into the corner and let the other guy go for 3.
Like, bro, the Rams are up 27-9. Just like, take a knee. Take a knee, bro. All right, on the other side, we're going to have Bailey Adams from Pewter Report, our final update of this Bucs season from Bailey coming up next. But first, before we do that,
Some people can't take a knee, Aaron.
some people can't because they hurt their knee. They broke their kneecap. And if you've done that,
Ow.
if you're sitting at home right now, you got a broken kneecap, what do? You know what to do. Call our friends at Florida Orthopedic Institute in partnership with Tampa General Hospital. They will fix your broken kneecap or any other injuries up right away.
Whatever injury it is, the great news, just like they give us the best doctors every week to talk about whatever injuries we're going to talk about during our injury report, they have the best doctors for whatever injury it is that you're dealing with. So when you need that world-class orthopedic care right here in your own backyard, the appointment is easy to make. Just call 800.
and AM 620.
Let's go to the hotline. He's been a contributor to the show all season long, and he's been fantastic, and we look forward to having him on in the future. Bailey J. Adams, at Bailey J. Adams 22 on Twitter X. He is Bailey Adams. PewterReport.com, at Pewter Report as well. Bailey, it's over, man. The ride is done.
I thought you were going to sing Boys to Men. It's so hard to say goodbye.
It's so hard to say goodbye. I don't know the lyrics. I don't know the tune, but I do know it's true.
Wow.
Bailey, what are your thoughts? Let's recap how that went down on Sunday night against Washington in that loss.
Yeah, it's tough. Hey, guys, I wanted to also say I think as much of a dream as it's been talking to you guys every week, and as much as I wanted to do it one last time for the season, I was almost hoping you kind of pushed me off to the side. I was enjoying listening to Sal Paolantonio. That was great stuff. So I was like, maybe they'll just push me to the side.
No, we love you and we love Sal. That was really good. And if you missed that, if you're just joining us, we did have Sal Paolantonio on. It's on the iHeartRadio app. It will be up a little bit later on. But yeah, Bailey, what were your thoughts on the game and how it ended?
Yeah, it was tough. I think it was one of those games that was for the taking, and something I wrote about on PewterReport.com was it was almost fitting the way it ended. Just the few themes of the season and that game kind of all fell in line where, the offense wasn't perfect on Sunday, and usually when it wasn't perfect and wasn't clicking, it was often its own doing. It was in this case, it was the fumble inside their own 20. It was the snap issue down, when they're threatening to go up and score late in the game to take the lead. And then on the other side of it with the defense, it was the defense being unable to pick up the offense when it wasn't perfect. It was the defense not being able to get that crucial stop, on the last possession of the game and losing in walk-off fashion again. So as frustrating as it was to see, the season end that way, it was almost kind of encapsulating the entire year.
Bailey, it's maybe a difficult argument to make when a handful of years ago, Jason Light went out and signed Tom Brady in the offseason. But when you look at where this football team is and how close it is, at least, we had the conversation the other day, Aaron and I, where we believe that this team is a couple of moves away from being real Super Bowl contenders. When you look at where this team is today, is this maybe as important an offseason as Jason Light has had?
Yeah, it's absolutely up there. I think, the first thing, it's kind of tough for him, for Todd Bowles, for just, the Bucs in general to not have a whole lot of control over what's going to happen with Liam Cohen. I think that's one of the big priorities is if they can manage to keep him and then rebuild this defense, I think this is a Super Bowl contending team next year. But that first if isn't really something they can control a ton unless, they talk to the Glazers and say, can we make this guy the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league, kind of entice him to give it another go and then have another pick of his head coaching positions next year. It's an extremely important offseason. They've got a lot of work to do on the defensive side of the ball, maybe a couple, things here and there on the offense, but rebuilding this defense is got to be the big priority.
I saw also on Pewter Report, PewterReport.com from Matt Matera, and we talked about it a little bit earlier this morning about John Spytek, and we already know he has his second interview with the Tennessee Titans, but also an interview with the Raiders, who, of course, have minority owner Tom Brady. His relationship with John Spytek going all the way back to Michigan. What's the fear that Spytek and or Mike Greenberg is going to depart from Tampa Bay?
I think from where things are right now, the bigger fear is losing John Spytek. I know Mike Greenberg has done such a great job with the Bucs and has interviewed with the Jets. I think there's a little more buzz right now around John Spytek, and those are two jobs that he's interviewed for that are very, very intriguing. They've got to be, because you've got a Titans team with the number one overall pick and a whole ton of cap space, and then there's the Raiders job where he's working with his former teammate at Michigan, Tom Brady. They've got a lot of cap space, they've got a high pick and a chance to kind of build that franchise and that team up in his image, however he'd want to. So, two really intriguing job opportunities, and I would not be surprised if one of those, or both of them offered John Spytek in any neat kind of, this is finally the offseason where, the Bucs lose him.
I think it's like $8 million or so that the Buccaneers could save if they were to move on from Jamel Dean. He just can't seem to stay on the football field. Do they have to look in another direction for that second corner across from Zion McCollum this offseason, in your opinion?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they might. I love Jamel. Jamel's always been so much fun to talk to, a great personality, and a really good player when he's on the field. The two issues have obviously always been the health and the lack of, takeaways, the lack of interceptions, kind of similar to what we saw from Carlton Davis, which is why I think this offseason for Jamel Dean could go similarly to the one Carlton Davis had last year, where the Bucs shipped them away, saved some money, and kind of just moved on. And I don't think it's something that anyone will take a whole lot of joy in, because a lot of people love Jamel Dean for good reason. But
do you think there's the same market for him given his injury history?
I don't. It's tougher, I think, on the Bucs even then, because there's so much to love about him as a player, outside of the inability to take the ball away, which was an issue with Carlton Davis. But I do think that his injury history has just been slightly worse and slightly more spotty than Carlton's was. So there might not be the same market, which I do wonder what happens there if they kind of just cut him loose if they can't find a trade partner.
At Bailey J. Adams 22 on Twitter X, and make sure to follow everything from Pewter Report at Pewter Report and pewterreport.com. Bailey, we really appreciate you joining the show. We love talking to you every single week, and we hope to do it again soon. And hopefully you don't mind if we call you in the off season here.
No, absolutely not. Anytime, guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, and you guys are great. So anytime.
You're the man.
Thanks,
Thank
Bailey.
you, Bailey Adams there, and everyone over at Pewter Report. Just really appreciate all the work they've done with us this year. It's great. It's great when you have the partnerships in this area, because we're all just doing one thing, rooting for this team and trying to make sure we cover the team the right way.
Are we all in this together?
We're all in this together.
game over?
Under.
See, I told you it was over.
Are you ready?
Time for Over-Under on the Pat and Aaron Show. Casey Warner, what do you have for us today?
We got a big weekend of NFL football, NFL playoff football yet again. Last weekend was fun despite the Bucs loss. Another fun weekend of football coming up, and we'll get started with the Texans at Chiefs on Saturday at 4:30. 41.5 total points in that game. It is the lowest over-under of total points of all 4 divisional games, courtesy of your Hard Rock Bet app.
I'm going to go over on this. I'm going to go over on it. I see this game like 26 to 17, 26 to 20.
41.5 is low.
Yeah, the Chiefs will probably win this game, but I still find that to be low. I think that the Houston's going to keep it somewhat close.
Did you watch? The Chiefs are going to come out balls to the wall.
I fear that, but I also don't believe that. I know they could do it at any point. I think that they're getting healthy at the right time. Hollywood Brown, I think that, you've added weapons. I expected more from Xavier Worthy, but he's even gotten better as the season's gone along.
Yeah, he's a rookie doing rookie things, but you've got
DeAndre Hopkins.
Thank you, DeAndre Hopkins. And now
Travis Kelce.
With Hollywood back. Watch, dude. You watch. I won't be surprised if this is like 35-17.
The Hollywood getting healthy factor scares me the most because it allows everyone else on that offense to do what they need to do and just contribute.
Okay, so 2 unders or...
No, I went over.
No, Aaron went over and so am I. I just said I won't be surprised if it's like 35-17.
2 overs, got it. Next game up on Saturday at 8 p.m. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders taking on the Lions in Detroit. Over under 54.5 rushing yards for Jaden Daniels.
I'm going to go with over. That Lions defense, they're pretty decimated. And Jaden Daniels is going to have to put a lot on him. I'm going to go with over.
Yeah, I just think that's what he does. The kid, what he said, he set the rookie record this year for rushing yards. This is a huge game. I don't think it's going to be easy by any means to throw the football against Detroit, as we saw against Minnesota, as good as they are typically. I'm going to take the over. Jaden Daniels is going to have to run the football this weekend for them to have a chance. I don't really know that I believe they have a chance against Detroit either way, but they're going to need him to be big if they do. So, yeah, over.
Over. Hammering those overs they are so far. So this next one is tougher. Cooper Kupp and Rams at Eagles on Sunday at 3. Kupp hasn't had more than 29 yards since Week 15 against the Bills. Over under 40.5 receiving yards for Coop.
I'm going to take the over because I think he's going to need, and I know that he hasn't been as big a part of the game plan, but I think that they're going to need to throw the football in this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think Philadelphia is going to do what Philadelphia does, which means give the ball to Saquon a lot. But when it's – and I know I'm going to take the over.
Yeah. This guy is not too far removed from being a Triple Crown winner in this league, which is so hard to do. But
injuries –
and he had
slow guys down, man.
He had 1 reception for 29 yards on Monday night, and they didn't need it. They destroyed Minnesota. So Puka Nacua is the new Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua does everything and more they need from him. I got sucked into it because my dad called me 5 minutes before Monday night's game and goes, I got a feeling this is Cooper Kupp's day. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to ride out your feeling, Dad. And it rode me to losing money.
Sounds weird.
Yeah, that feeling rode me to losing money, and I'm not getting sucked into that again. They've got other weapons. I don't know if Higbee is going to be ready to go, but there's security blankets for Stafford all along the way. Also, strong run game in Kyron Williams. I'm going to go with under.
Finally, an under. Let's see if you go under on this one, though. Over, under 241.5 passing yards for Josh Allen and Ravens at Bills on Sunday at 6:30. He had 272 last week and only 180 in Week 4 when they played the Ravens.
I think it's going to be over because I think it's going to be a back and forth. I know they're going to try to utilize the ground game, both Josh Allen and Cook. They're going to try to continue to run the ball just like the Ravens will, but also it's going to have to be a shootout at some point for the 2 top MVP contenders. I'm going to go over on this one.
I don't know if it's going to have to be a shootout. I think there's going to be a lot of running the football from both teams. I think he's going to get just over it, though. I think he's going to have to throw the ball against the Ravens team that does a good job against the ground game. So I will take the over.
All right, next up, college football playoff national championship on Monday night, 7:30. Thank you, man. A little bit earlier. I like that. Do y'all like that?
I love that.
Yeah.
Have you not heard this guy cry about late games before?
I know. I'm just making sure.
I'd rather be 6:30.
Yeah, me too. I totally agree. So over under 17.5 total points for Notre Dame against Ohio State in that national championship.
Aaron, you like hot dogs?
Love hot dogs.
Just making sure. 17.5 points is not a lot. Listen, I hate Ohio State, man. I really hope Notre Dame can pull this thing out. I don't think they're going to. I think the 8.5 point spread's pretty high as well, but I'm going to say over. It's probably not going to be a lot more, but I'm going to take the over.
Riley Leonard doesn't scare me.
Notre Dame nobody.
They don't have a lot of weapons. I'm going to go with the under. I hate it, but I'm going to go with the under. I know it's not a lot of points, but I'm going to go with the under. He has not impressed me at all.
Pats went over on every single over-under, and Aaron, you've had 2 unders. So Pat's feeling very over it today.
3 unders, actually, for me. Or no, 2 unders. Yeah, 3 overs, 2 unders.
All right, so last one.
I'm over it.
Over-under 2.5 wins for your Tampa Bay Lightning in their next 4. They have Anaheim and Detroit at Amalie, and then they head to Canada to face Toronto and Montreal.
Definitively over. I think they're going to go 3-1. 3-1.
Toronto, 4-0.
Toronto will be tough.
Let's go.
I'm over on it. I'm over it, like you said.
It's over on everything.
I'm over it.
Once you go to Canada, that first game in Toronto, that's going to be tough. I'm going to go, but I'm still going over. That's over under here on the Pat and Aaron Show. Thank you, Casey Warner. Good stuff. We've got a lot coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Why? Because it's Wector Wednesday. Doug Wechter's going to join us. Pat, we didn't get to it earlier about the floating baseball park that I teased.
Yeah, what the hell?
We had Sal Paolantonio who joined us a little later.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sal Pal's fun.
What happened was, real quick here, and I want you to tell me.
We got a couple minutes.
Should we bring it up with Doug? In San Diego, in the 60s, way back in the 60s.
I thought you were saying this is new.
Well, no, I'm telling you that it happened, and I think if it could, in the 60s, looked like a viable option for the Padres, then why wouldn't it? Well, the future Padres, why wouldn't it be a viable option now in Tampa Bay? And I have Jeff Kirk and I used to work with it down the hall at WFLA.
Yeah,
like a decade ago, as a joke, proposed a floating ballpark.
We've gotten calls, we've gotten texts about just that here.
There would be 50,000 people that would have been able to watch in San Diego. The grandstand behind home plate would be the anchor. It would have been the anchor. Constructed on land, it would hold about 13,000 people. Then there would be 2 wings for the stands that would be, they were on the water. Parts of it would be literally floating on the water. They could hold 20,000 fans each. Now, if you think about it.
That sounds ridiculoly stupid.
No, because it doesn't. If you think about it, it really takes away that, okay, you need this land, right? You need land. No, well, let's utilize the water. I want the Rays to do it in Tampa.
Yeah.
Do it right there.
Forget about in Ybor. Just stick it in the water.
Stick it in the bay.
Right in the middle of the bay, so that way it gives a whole new meaning to Tampa Bay Rays. Right in the bay, you know?
Get rid of the convention center.
Go.
We don't need the conventions. Actually,
can we shape it like a Ray?
In Tampa Bay all day.
You know Harbor Island, where there's like Jackson's and American Social, and I know everyone who likes to party at American Social is not going to love this suggestion, but that's like, float that sucker right there.
Get rid of it.
Now the parking would be horrible.
Yeah, terrible.
I don't come up with great ideas.
There's
I don't
a lot
think
of
floating in ballpark is the best idea.
I really thought you were suggesting that somebody was suggesting this right now. That there was a group actually floating this idea, pun intended.
There is a group
right now.
The Pat and Aaron Show.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want the whole ballpark to float. I just want that doesn't make sense. I want the stands to float. I want people to be in the water.
Aaron on the Bartow Ford DAE text line. Aaron, there's this little thing called climate change, buddy. That's the whole reason we're having this whole hell about the stadium now.
What are you
cool idea, though.
What are you talking about? Climate change is not real.
It's because of the hurricanes, man.
Everyone knows, listening, climate change is just made up.
Yeah. Man, bear, pig.
Thank you.
It's man, bear, pig.
We all know this. So don't be bringing your climate change conversation. It's essentially flat earth conversation on this show. I'm just kidding.
Man, bear, pig.
Kidding completely. Everyone relax. Mom, chill.
Well, here's the thing. I believe in climate change. I don't know that I believe it's necessarily man-made. Like, the Earth goes through cycles, man.
Yeah, it's cyclical.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't want to get it.
Live across Tampa Bay, the Pat and Aaron Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Hour number 3 of the Pat and Aaron Show on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. And you know what that means on a Wednesday morning. It is Wector Wednesday. You can look at Doug Wechter's chin right now on YouTube. We'll fix this camera here for you in a second.
How's this?
Yeah, that's better.
Is that better?
There it is. That's Doug Wector there on the live stream on YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch, wherever. I don't think we're on Twitch. We're all over the place.
You said that yesterday. We're not on
I know.
Twitch.
I'm sorry.
I don't even know
it
what
just comes
Twitch
out of
is.
the mouth. It's a dumb website.
You don't even know what Twitch is, Pat.
Listen.
Yeah, I want you to explain Twitch to me.
Twitch is where kids and nerds go to watch other people play video games on the internet. which
awesome
is to me the weirdest thing in the world. Why would you watch someone else play a video game that you, in fact, yourself could just play?
Right.
It's so popular now.
Is it?
It's so
dude,
popular.
You got me. You mentioned video games. I immediately get thrown back to my youth, and I sound like the old guy, but like old school Nintendo.
What was your game?
RBI Baseball, man.
Yes.
Tecmo Bowl and RBI Baseball were the absolute best.
Aladdin.
Dude, Aladdin? I didn't know there was an Aladdin game. What about Commando?
It's such an Aaron game.
Y'all remember Commando?
I don't.
The code, up, down, left, right, BA start.
Yes.
You get like
select start,
Is
wasn't
it select start? You get like 99 lives, and you just blow through all these aliens.
What did you call
awesome.
it? Commando, though?
Isn't it Commando?
Isn't it Cobra Commando?
No, it's not. Contra. It's
Contra.
That's what it is.
You sounded like Baker Mayfield, like calling a play at the line. Like calling an audible.
Hot route.
Yeah.
Hot route.
Like 1-1-2.
Make it rain out here.
Did RBI Baseball, did that have licensing? Did that have the players on it?
Oh, God. That was so far. I mean, you're talking about when I was in like middle school and elementary school. I have no idea. Probably.
Because
I mean,
remember,
all the, I don't know. Did they have MLB teams?
No.
So probably not.
I don't know about RBI. I don't know about RBI Baseball. I don't remember. What I remember is going back to the Nintendo days, because I'm a little older than you are. Going back to the Nintendo days, I remember so distinctly the first time there was a game called Baseball Stars, and it was the first time you could go in and edit the name. Nobody had licensing. It was the first time you could go in and edit the names of the players.
Oh, boy.
So we would literally go into every team and edit the names of the players to real baseball players.
Really?
And that was the first time we felt like we were playing the games with real players on it. It was like the greatest thing ever.
Y'all remember Game Boys?
Oh, yeah.
Those were, oh, my God.
Never liked them. Like when I
wasn't a Game Boy guy either.
I would go to summer camp for 2 months every summer. It was the best thing in my life. Very lucky to do it. I would go up north, and we were playing sports every day. It was sleepaway camp. It was sports. And then there were always a couple kids who were just constantly playing Game Boy.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, as a kid, I was disgusted by it. I was like, dude, what are you doing?
That's different. You got the lake out there.
Yeah.
You got all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's different. If you're home and you got nothing to do and you don't want to do your homework.
Go outside.
There's always a
to play
basketball
Game
hoop,
Boy.
dude.
Yeah, go outside.
To
Always.
me,
I get it.
When
I'm
I was
with you.
growing up, and listen, I grew up a fat kid. I didn't just get fat. But when I was growing up, if I could be outside playing sports, there's no way. Video games were for rainy days and for at night.
Yeah, I had
Like
late night, like sleepovers when buddies would come over. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
let's
man,
not
let's
talk
go
to them.
play.
Let's just play Game Boy by ourselves. Let's all sit in a corner in the room and play Game Boy.
Well, no, that's when you play together.
Yeah.
Like, so we would do, to your point, Tecmo Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? That was the first, again, that had all the teams and stuff. We would each, like, there were three of us that would always do the sleepovers and stuff. And we'd each pick a team from every division.
Yeah.
And play, like, every single game. And we'd be up all night playing Tecmo Super Bowl. But then once it was light in the morning, outside.
Right. Well, we had Super Nintendo, so it was my buddies and my brother's buddies who were like 3 years older than us. And, you know, we would do at night, we'd do the video games till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Usually it was like Street Fighter. You guys remember Street Fighter from Super Nintendo?
Terrible.
Did you guys not have any bedtime in your life?
Then, well, I mean, I don't know, not at this point. And then the next day we'd wake up and it'd just be like basketball, football all day long. We're just outside all day long.
My mom was dropping the hammer. Like if we were up past 10 when we were kids, we were getting in trouble.
You need your beauty rest.
I guess I
You
did.
didn't get it.
She
from
knew
what
I was
see.
very cranky if I didn't get my beauty rest. I'm getting ripped apart already.
Already?
What else?
Hey, by the way, you don't know Boys to Men? I was listening.
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't know Boys to Men?
I mean, I've heard of them,
What
but-
year did you graduate high school?
08?
Oh, okay.
Hit us with it so
you're
hard.
08?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
guess not,
34.
because Boys to Men was like a middle school for me, and I'm a 99 graduate. What are you, Pat?
96.
96?
Well,
Ish?
supposed
Did you get redshirted in high
supposed to
school?
be 96.
Greatest. And like he has the greatest story of come up ever.
Oh, boy.
It's weird.
Is this an off the air?
Let's just say my sophomore year, my best friends were seniors, and I thought I could do the same things that they did.
Senioritis as a sophomore is not a good thing.
Senioritis as a
It's
sophomore.
a terrible thing.
It didn't work out for me, and I may have stayed back as a sophomore in high school.
So that's the story of Donovan.
I then ran for senior class president with the class under me because I stayed back with.
Right.
So I ran for their senior class president and won.
Look at this success story.
Was also impeached.
Oh, never mind.
Like a day later.
No. It was after the summer.
How long was the
but before
first
you
day
even-
of school?
yeah,
First day of school the
that's
next
what it
year,
was.
it was like, oh, by the way, you're impeached.
So what, did they elect you in over the summer and then your first day back you get impeached?
Well, no, they
How
elected
does
me
that
in
work?
at the end of the year before. That's when you would do the elections for student
For
politics.
next
The kids
year.
loved him. He promised
Yeah.
like free cookies.
Oh, yeah.
And
the Coke machine. Everything's free.
it was the administration that knew him, and they were like, no.
Everybody's getting straight A's under my tenure.
Like, Pat, you're not up for this task. And they were probably right.
Yeah, no, it's a
I
good
was
thing.
up for the task. I wasn't, as they put it, I was not necessarily the best role model for the younger students in school.
But yeah,
Not necessarily presidential.
when I
No,
graduated, like Rihanna was coming up.
Rihanna.
Yeah.
Hold on. I wasn't presidential then. I'm presidential now.
Yeah, very much so.
I don't even mean me. I mean me then is president. It's just it's a different thing now.
Rihanna, huh? Rihanna was on your
Rihanna's-
playlist?
Yeah. No, it was just like I remember my senior year, we had this
You worked
thing.
out to Rihanna?
My senior year, we had this thing. We would go to Busch Gardens. All the high school senior class would go to Busch Gardens for this event, whatever, and they'd have a concert.
Oh, yeah.
Rihanna was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
concert that year.
You know who mine was? Britney Spears.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's aging.
Is that
myself.
aging myself?
Yeah.
Oh, is that bad?
Pat, there was no Britney Spears.
No.
So,
I didn't
okay.
say I liked her. I
No,
just
we had
said,
when I was a kid, we had Paula Abdul. All right, that was
No, you
that was my jam. That was my
You had
jam.
Paula
as a kid.
Abdul?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh,
What about
man.
Cher?
When
You
I was
like
a kid,
Cher?
What world
Casey,
are you?
did you just Google that?
No,
Casey
I
just
know
Googled a
about
name.
music, man.
He's like,
You know
yeah, I
what
got to
it is?
Google a name to jump into this.
He's a big Kiss fan too, so I'm not surprised.
Was Sonny there?
Sonny and Cher.
On the
Wow.
Bartow 4DA text, and I'm getting ripped apart here because I brought up how in the 60s, that soon-to-be Padres, the baseball teams over there, they were trying to come up with a floating stadium where the stands would be in the water. I just brought it up.
What? In
yeah.
the 60s?
Yeah. It was an idea that was literally floated around. And people are ripping me apart saying we couldn't do that here because the hurricanes. Okay, I get it, people. I was just telling you what happened in the 60s.
Aaron, I don't know what to do here.
Why?
I've never been more torn.
Oh, boy.
I mean, you
Really?
say that once a week.
I know. Well, it's true once a week. All right.
Never been more torn
I've never
this
been
week.
more torn than
Once a
this
week.
moment, though. Before, like last week, when I was never more torn by that moment. There's a friend of the show we haven't heard from for a long.
I summoned him. Did I not summon him
You
earlier?
did, yes, you
boy.
did, Casey. There's a friend of the show we haven't heard from for a long time, and I kind of want to hear him because we haven't heard from him for so long. But on the flip side, I don't necessarily want to subject Doug to this caller.
I don't know who it could be.
Let's just sneak him in before the break because we got to get to the break anyway. So
Casey
sneak him
Moore
in.
wants it so bad.
I
Casey,
got to
look
hear
at
it.
he,
All right,
we're
let's
going to
see.
talk Cher?
We
Is that
once,
why Casey wants her on? Wants this guy on?
Doug,
Is it
we,
Dave?
we once gave this caller 3 words, or was it 4 words? And he got out. So I mean, and we were like, thanks.
Oh, yeah. You did summon him.
Quite the
No.
tease.
No,
Yes,
Rossi
yes,
Day?
yes.
Rossi Day?
Listen, it's an experience.
I mean, we did just talk about video games. for
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Well, listen, it's a Wector Wednesday.
Okay.
Tecmo Bowl, though.
He's got his Bucs hat on. He's sad about football like the rest
Okay.
of us. He wanted to talk video games.
Rossi Day is an Antonio Brown guy.
He
Every
just
time.
wants to talk about the Bucs.
There- okay, but there's no way he brings up Antonio Brown right now, right?
Right.
Pat, do you think he does? He does every time.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Rossi Day may have soured on Antonio Brown because Antonio Brown stumped for a certain political figure?
Ooh, maybe.
Let's see.
Well, I don't even want him to bring it up. Let's see if he can not bring it up. What's up, Rossi Day?
Hey, what's up, fellas? Happy New Year's. I wanted to talk a
Happy
little
New
bit
Year.
of NFL play, a little bit of NFL playoffs, and also you guys got to know I am the equivalency to Stephen A. Smith here in Detroit, Michigan. And let me say this: it seems like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers really could have used Antonio Brown.
I knew it.
How you like that?
I don't like that.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers could have used Antonio Brown.
All right, Rossi Day Smith right there. Rossi Day, Stephen A., whatever you want to call him.
Unbelievable.
I think
Is he really calling from Michigan?
That was
Yeah,
awesome.
he calls
calls-
like across the country.
He's
different
listening
shows.
from Michigan.
I don't even think he listens. Like I don't
Oh, he
even
just
think,
calls in.
Yeah, I don't think.
It's not just Rossi Day, it's Super Rossi Day.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think he even heard what I just said leading into it of how he's going to talk about Antonio Brown.
Probably not.
He just
He just likes Antonio
I don't.
Brown?
We
He's that
think
much
he
of a fan?
might be Antonio Brown.
Just calling.
You know what? No, let's be fair to Rossi Day. He's much more well-spoken than Antonio Brown.
Antonio's
Rossi
wild.
Day might be crazy, but he can get the thoughts out of his mouth. Antonio Brown, barely speak.
How is he still thinking a guy like Antonio Brown could help the Bucs?
I know you guys have covered the Bucs, obviously, with the loss and all this other stuff. The only thing, can I mention this before we go to the break?
Please.
The only thing I would second guess, right? And it frustrated me at the time because the trend in the NFL now is to go for it on fourth down, right? You go for it on fourth down, the odds say if you do it over the course of the game, it'll work out in your favor. We saw the Commanders do it the entire game, right?
You're going to say 4th and 3 they should have went for instead of kicked the field goal?
In the first quarter, we had a chance, right, to set the tone.
Yeah.
It was 4th and 7, and they get called on a penalty, right? It's 4th and 2. We had already kicked the field goal, right? We had a chance to go for it at that point in time, set the tone, and that's where I thought we really could have moved forward. And
I look at it like blackjack rules. Like you have, when I play blackjack, I have like the rules that I stick with, and I stand by it. And if you do for the majority of the time, the odds, your odds are in your favor. With points on the board, I look at it the same way. Like my rule is don't take points off the board.
Yeah,
that's my general rule. Everyone's different.
Listen. It's a lot of coaches' rules, too. They don't like taking points off the board.
No, and I get that. It's all just my opinion, but, man, I saw that. I was like, man, you can set the tone in this game. You know it's going to be a tight game. Jaden Daniels is going to be good. Let's do it.
We'll set the tone with Doug Waechter again on the other side, talking about the Rays, talking about what the offseason feels like when it comes to the end, like it did for the Buccaneers on Sunday night. But I've got some breaking news for you boys. You're going to like Wector Wednesday today because we always have fun when you're here, Doug.
Yeah.
I think you're both going to like Wector Wednesday a little bit better next week.
What do you got?
Really? What do you got?
It's actually going to be, according to our friend David, Rib Wednesday.
Is it?
Next go.
Is it the candy ribs you were talking about?
So I told him how you were drooling about the bacon jalapeno candied cowboy candy ribs.
They just sound good. I have no idea if this guy's a good chef, though.
And then he said, I trust him. Let's just say that.
You're baiting him now. He's baiting him.
He said,
I don't know.
You're going to have to prove it.
Here's what he said when I told him that. I'm going to make cowboy candy ribs and peach cobbler ribs.
What?
Oh.
Who is this guy?
He's a friend of the show.
Guy Fieri coming in next Wednesday.
Yeah, David Hersey. So Rib Wednesday next Wednesday sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
Kind of like Aaron has a blast every day on his way to work because he's driving his new Mazda 3 that he just got on lease a couple months ago.
Did you hear this thing? It's called CarPlay.
Yeah.
Where like you just turn your car on and your phone just boom, immediately everything that you want to hear from your phone can play in your car.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you have that in your new car.
It's the first time I've ever had it, and it's freaking awesome.
Aaron also just learned about Bluetooth headphones a couple years ago, so all this stuff blows him away. But listen, the technology in a new Mazda will blow you away, just like everything about a new Mazda will blow you away. I've had my Mazda 3 for a couple years now, still absolutely love it. But what you're going to love just as much as that new Mazda is the car buying experience at Mazda of Clearwater. It will be the best car buying experience of your life. And oh, by the way, if you go right now, you might just get the best interest rate of your life because with interest rates on the way down, select models are at 0% financing. You can check them out online at MazdaofClearwater.com. But I always say go in person and find out why it'll be the best car buying experience of your life. They're on US 19.
95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Oh, man, Doug. You've got our guy David feeling the pressure now. He just messaged me, said he's excited to bring him in next week, but now he's feeling the pressure. By the way, also on the Bartow Ford DAE text line from Tiffany in Tampa, she said, Pat, I had Wicked Oak ribs this weekend. Awesome. Thanks for the recommendation. So excited to try David Hersey's ribs next week, Doug. Yeah. But have you had? Well, I'm such an idiot. I'm such an idiot.
And our friend Brian Stamey from International Diamond Center just texted us as well. He might be joining us next Wednesday.
Bring him in.
Bring a lot, David. Bring a lot of food.
That's awesome. We'll have a party up in here.
I almost asked Doug if he had tried Wicked Oak ribs before.
No, I haven't.
Like
so
idiot.
what do you
have? I brought him in.
Oh, those are Wicked Oaks.
Those are Wicked Oaks.
Yeah, those are fantastic. Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah, and Tiffany, enjoy those. Those are going to be great.
Those are really good. Yeah,
we're going to have a party next week.
Yeah, next
Brian,
Wednesday is going to be good. Yeah, that food. It's got to be better than the beef jerky sitting right by Aaron.
I think they're only doing it on the weekends now. But speaking of breakfast, Wicked Oak is doing breakfast now. You haven't had it yet, have you?
Where's Wicked Oak?
No, I haven't.
No.
I've had the breakfast. Yes,
you
I have.
Had
yes,
it.
I have.
Right,
I got it a couple weeks ago.
So good, right?
Yeah.
Did you get the grits?
I did. When my friend was in town over, it was November for that wedding. We went over to Wicked Oak.
The grits, right?
Yeah, incredible. Everything there was incredible. Yeah. And that little, I forget what it's called, the breakfast, whatever. It's all in.
Where's Wicked Oak?
Seminole Heights.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, also, Pat, I meant to mention this to you. I don't want to bring Mighty Fine. Have you had a burger from Mighty Fine?
No.
I'm taking you there.
Are they gourmet burgers?
They're smash burgers.
Oh yeah, nice.
So good.
I'm a big smash burger guy.
I'm a big. I'm like a classic burger guy. El Cap, St. Pete.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard they're really
best
good.
I've ever had. I actually, when me and my wife. Oh yeah, me and my wife. St. Pete, like a lot of natives know about it. You know, it's like a Ted Peters type. Ted Peters out on the beach has the best fish spread. You know, St. Pete. You're looking for a burger. El Cap on 4th Street. I had them. We loved them so much. Yeah, trust me on that. You gotta go smoked fish bread. Me and my wife actually, after our wedding was over, after all the food was served, everyone was dancing, open bar, all that stuff. I had El Cap come in with 180 cheeseburgers.
Wow.
And give everybody burgers on the way out.
That's awesome.
Of the night. It was like midnight, and everybody was just crushing these El Cap burgers.
Nick Weiss had what, Chick-fil-A, right? At the end of his wedding?
I could see people crushing Chick-fil-A.
I have beef jerky here because here's what happened. I got stuck.
That body is a temple of yours.
I wanted to make a peanut butter and jelly this morning. I got up too late.
For breakfast?
Yeah. I got up too late. I love PB&J for breakfast. I got up too late, and I was like, I need to eat something because we're going out with Brian for lunch at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I was like, I usually
Korean barbecue, right?
I just can't wait.
I'm psyched.
You going today?
Yeah.
Nice.
I usually eat. Feel free to join us. I know Brian would love that.
You would?
I got to work. If I would have known, I would have loved to.
I know. And it's at 12. But if I don't eat, usually I eat lunch around 11. If I don't eat something before, I'll be just a mess by the time I get to 12.
So beef jerky.
Yeah, just something.
So beef jerky settles your system down at 5 a.m.
I'm watching this show on Netflix, American Primeval. It's from the 1850s.
Yeah, so am I.
It's
I watched
amazing.
it last night. It was
and the
crazy.
guy's just eating jerky.
Yeah.
So I'm in a real jerky phase. I'm
you
like,
feel
what
like
if
a
I was
real man?
Yeah, I'm like, what if I was roughing it out and I was just stuck in the wilderness jerky?
Do you ever get they have chunks, chunks of meat?
I don't like those.
I don't like those. I think
they're okay. They're okay. You don't have to rip them apart.
All right, I do want to get into this because Aaron brought it up before the break, and it's something that we've been talking about. Obviously, we're all bummed out. I was saying the other day, when they're on the road, it's me and Ronnie Lane here in the studio.
Yeah.
And if they lose that playoff game like last year, we walk away and we're bummed, but it doesn't feel real almost because it's just me and Ronnie, and it almost feels like I'll see you next week. Being at the stadium Sunday night, everyone when you're leaving, it's see you in September.
Right.
The whole vibe in the locker room.
Oh, yeah.
And all the people you see every week.
Last day of school kind of
so,
thing.
Yeah, very melancholy. Everyone's kind of sad. What's it like for players when the season comes to an end, especially a good season, a successful season? What's that emotion like? Because I know there's part of you, like anybody, there's part of me on Sunday morning that will be glad that I don't have a 10-hour workday in front of me, right? As an athlete, when the season ends, what is that emotion like?
Well, it's different, obviously, if you make the playoffs or not, right? If you don't make the playoffs, it's the last game of the season. You kind of see it coming. Everybody's kind of wrapping things up, but going into that, you knew it was the last day, so you're saying your goodbyes and kind of wrapping things up over the course of the last series. The team is being managed a little bit differently over the course of the last series. You're making sure guys get playing time. You want to see, the club wants to see what they got coming in next year, all kinds of stuff. So it's a little bit different when you don't make the playoffs. When you do make the playoffs, it sucks. Like,
it's
the
so
feeling
abrupt.
is,
The playoffs is so abrupt.
Well, because as an athlete, you're going out there and every single person, every single player in the postseason thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl. And if they don't, they shouldn't be on the team. They shouldn't be on the field. And so you're going out there with a bunch of pride and, you got everything, your entire life. You've worked for this moment and you're moving forward to try to get and accomplish something, that is the pinnacle of the sport. And all of a sudden it's taken from you. And so that day when you're packing things up, it feels a little surreal, right? And it's like, oh my God, it's almost like the carpet got ripped out from underneath you, right? Now in football, it's probably more abrupt because it's a one-game thing. In baseball, it's a series, right? If you're down 3 games in a series, well, you can see the writing on the wall a little bit, even though you still feel like you can come back. But in football, think about it. It's just like you could put all your effort into that one game, knowing that if you succeed in the game plan, then you trust that you're going to move on to another week. And when you don't, it sucks.
There's only one player who I would think in the NFL that I heard from that I think did not think their team was going to win the Super Bowl. George Pickens. I don't know if you guys heard this reporter. He was talking about signs of growth from the offense, and the reporter said, "Does that make you optimistic going forward?" And Pickens responded with, "Nah." And he was dead serious.
Nah.
He was dead serious. I'm like, that guy doesn't think they can win. That's a guy that does not believe.
Well, listen, it's hard to believe in him the way he played at the end of the season. A lot of drops, and that's a kid that, ton of talent, but it's a difficult thing for a lot of people. It's always a bummer, certainly when we get to the end of a season, no matter how it ends, and it's certainly going to be again for the Rays. Hopefully not at the end of this season. We'll see, but I think for me, it's been difficult to watch the offseason and the way they've operated so far because I don't feel like they've done enough. And the closer we get to the season, the more worried I am about it. But the question...
You're basically saying they haven't done enough offensively, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I believe in the pitching staff.
Yeah, because the pitching is where it needs to be.
As long as they're healthy.
And obviously we made a trade, Jeffrey Springs. You're losing a power left-handed arm, and you still feel really good about where this rotation is, where the bullpen is, the potential of it. I don't mean to cut you off, but
No.
I've heard the argument a lot of, hey, we need more offense, and I get it. I'd love to see them go out there and sign a bat or two.
I think that they do, but we're going to talk about the road schedule for the Rays because it's going to be weird this season with everything going on at Steinbrenner Field and all of that coming up with Doug Waechter on the other side. But Doug, anybody, if you're listening, can you believe? It's 2025. It's already here. And with a new year, you know what comes with that. New hope, optimism, and a time to start fresh and look ahead. At International Diamond Center, they're very excited to be part of your special moments in the new year, so much so that they've expanded their selection for the new year. IDC's diamond inventory has never been better. All the sizes, all the shapes, all real, natural, precious diamonds at the best direct importer prices. And it doesn't stop there. IDC is showcasing all the new styles and trends in engagement rings and fashion jewelry inspired and created by the world's premier designers. No one has more fashion-forward jewelry than IDC.
And you heard Pat and I were just talking about our friend Brian Stamey, who we're having lunch with a little bit later on. He's our friend, and we like to work and do business with people and tell you about great opportunities, great businesses with people that we like to work with, and we like to work with our friends. And Brian Stamey's that, and exactly what you're going to get at International Diamond Center. You're going to be their friends. They're going to be your friends, and there's non-commissioned experts there. They're not salespeople, and that's what I love about International Diamond Center is they're locally owned, internationally connected, and they've got that staff of non-commissioned experts, and they're there to guide you, and they're going to guide you every step of the way. So you're walking out of there, you're buying with total confidence. So welcome to 2025. Let IDC, International Diamond Center, celebrate what matters most in the new year. It's your love. Check them out, Tampa, Clearwater, Lakeland, and Sarasota. ShopIDC.com.
It's a very unique new year for the Tampa Bay Rays. We'll get into it with Doug Waechter next.
Tampa Bay Sports Radio, 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
At Rivard Buick GMC, it doesn't matter where you live because from the comfort of your home, you can enjoy the massive new GMC discounts with upfront pricing that Rivard is known for, saving you thousands. Check out over 650 new vehicles in stock. Find one that you like, and we'll deliver it to you, whether you're 1 mile or 1,000 miles from us. You'll receive great customer service with no hassle and no pressure. That's how we got to be the number 2 GMC dealer in the country. Rivard Buick GMC.
And AM 620.
Doug Waechter in studio. It is a Wector Wednesday on the Pat and Aaron Show. And the Rays, we just said it before the break, they are in for a very unique new year as they get ready to play their home games at Steinbrenner Field. Of course, their road games will not be impacted as far as where they are, but certainly when they are. The Rays, I should say, I'm still so Buck season. The Rays front-loading in Major League Baseball, front-loading a lot of their schedule at home at Steinbrenner Field to try to get away from too much of the weather delays that will be worse as we get into the season when it comes to the weather here in Tampa Bay. Talk about, Doug, and we've talked a little bit about this, but would it change your preparation for the season at all, knowing, A, that you got to get off to a fast start, you would think, because of the home schedule being so front-loaded, and also, B, that the rest of the season you're going to be doing so much travel? Would that change your preparation at all, your mindset at all, going into a season like this is going to be for the Rays?
No, not at all. Every team wants to get out to a hot start, no doubt. I don't think it changes anything you do.
But it becomes more crucial, and doesn't that make it a little, you maybe get a little more nervous if things don't start getting off to a good start?
I mean, look, you definitely want to rack up the wins early because the second half of the season is going to be a gauntlet on the road. I mean, they have a 14-day road trip, I think it is, in August. 14 days.
Yep.
Like,
they have a long road trip right before the All-Star break, and then they have a long road trip right after the All-Star break.
And so you see that, and you're like, man, you really do need to rack up some wins because it's hard to play on the road. It's hard to play for a lot of reasons. Now, you travel great. You're in the best hotels. Yeah, I get all that. But you're on the road. So, first of all, the road team doesn't get your last at-bats. So, just the structure of the baseball game itself, you're at a disadvantage. But then you're on the road. You got the other fans. You're just dealing with a lot of things. You're not at home. It's hard to play on the road, especially the longer road trips, the West Coast trips, all those. They pile up, that's hard.
How much do people discount travel and what that means to athletes? Because, I think a lot of us, we forget, a lot of us rarely travel. And when we do, it's like we're going on vacation. And when you get done with vacation, you need a vacation more than before you took the vacation. Traveling alone kicks the crap out of you when you do it as much as an athlete does. I think a lot of people are like, oh, you're playing a game for a living, whatever. Do people discount how much of an impact that has?
100%. And I think players downplay it too, just because they're so used to it. But it's difficult to travel. I mean, you think about a normal travel day, right? You go out called the West Coast swing, all right? So you're playing, 9, 10 games on the West Coast. You're probably out there for at least 11 days because you got an off day mixed in there in between. So you usually travel on an off day or after a day game. You get in. The time zone's different, 3 hours difference. You just were on a flight for 5+ hours. I get it. It's like a first-class flight, charter plane, all that stuff. I get it. But you get over there, you're playing the next day, you start going right into these games, and then you're traveling in between these series, right? So you're not over there just sitting in a hotel room for 12 straight days. You're traveling in between there too. You're getting used to the time zone, and then you're flying back. And when you come back from the West Coast, you always have an off day, right? They try to always schedule an off day for you. Well, you usually land somewhere in between 2 and 4 a.m., okay? So you're already messed up from the time zone thing. You're landing at 2 to 4 a.m. Your body feels like it's been through a washing machine, over the past couple days. And you got 24 hours to figure it out because you got to get right back on the mound the following day, or you got to get right back in the box the following day. So yeah, it is. It's not talked about enough. I think there is something to it where it's very difficult to play on the road. It just is. And that's not just baseball. I think that's every sport. I mean, I don't know what the Bucs record is when you're going to the West Coast, but I doubt it's much higher than maybe 500.
I've tried to envision what the home games are going to look like at George Steinbrenner Field.
Have you been?
Yeah,
I've never been.
Yeah, I've been to many games.
Awesome.
I played there.
I
played there in high school. The regionals was there. I've been to many spring training games there. It is awesome. I love the ballpark.
In fact, I've never been in the building.
That's crazy.
You haven't?
I've never been.
I remember you telling me that's wild. Now,
I mean, it's a great spring training facility.
That's it. It's a spring training minor league ballpark. So fans are like, yeah, it's gonna wait until the Rays see Tampa pack a stadium. Yeah, well, it's gonna be loaded because there's not as many seats. So the Rays attendance already, average attendance, would fill up George Steinbrenner Field. So everyone needs to stop with that, the optics of it. But I do start to think it's not going to change anyone's mind, but it is going to be a way different type of ballpark and environment for guys that have been part of this organization and this team for years. I think because of how tight everyone's going to be, it's going to be full. It's going to appear more full. I think it's going to be louder because of that. I think the Rays get a little more of a home field advantage maybe with the fans at George Steinbrenner than they would from the Trop. Now, that's total speculation, but that's what I'm going.
I mean, we'll see, right? I don't know if it'll be louder, just because when the Dome has, I would say, around 20,000 people in it, it gets pretty loud. We've all been
for
inside Tropicana Field where there's 20 plus.
Sometimes and that's a lot of the times when it gets to that's because the away team is the fans show up.
Well, I'm just the volume of it though. It can get pretty loud in Tropicana Field.
Because
So I don't
voice
know.
travels there.
We'll have to see what it sounds like. The experience at Steinbrenner is going to be just very different. First of all, outside in Florida, you're outside. Right, so the first part of the year, I think it'll be gorgeous.
It's also an intimate ballpark, just like all spring training ballparks. They're much more intimate.
Right. I mean, look, a spring training facility, it's as good as you can get. That's why they chose it. I mean, it was the most, I don't know, major league ready, I guess you could say. They still have to modify things. There's still things that they have to do. They have to add in certain cameras to make it qualify for a major league stadium, right? They have to have a review. They have to have all these things that you don't have to have in spring training games. And so by adding that, by adding camera wells, by adding all these other things, that's how they're going to get this major league ready. It's a big task to do that. As close, as nice as that field is, I guess I should say, it's still a big task for the Rays and Major League Baseball to bring it up to standards of a major league ready field for in season. But that being said, look, you're making the best of the situation. You had 2 hurricanes just blow through and devastate this area, right? And so you got to find a way to get the season going. And, by putting it at Steinbrenner Field, I think the experience will be really good for the fans. I think they're going to have a lot of fun with it. I love the fact that MLB changed the schedule. And I say that because it still might be a little bit of a disadvantage for the Rays because we just talked about it. The second half is going to be really, really hard just with the travel. But for the fan experience, the fact that we've all been here in the springtime in Florida and just after springtime and all the way up until about summer, it's gorgeous, right? And you're not fighting that much rain until the summer months hit. So the fact that we're getting the majority of the games, you get to play outside, you get to be in Florida. I mean,
you have to take advantage of it, though. It's
the
best
best
for
opportunity
us,
as you can have in the situation that we have.
Have to take advantage of it.
Speaking of great experiences, Aaron, I've heard you can get one for free today.
It's absolutely right, Pat. And we're talking about, of course, Tampa Bay Downs. Live it up at the Downs. And it's Wednesday. So like Pat said, Wednesday means free admission at Tampa Bay Downs. And it's a new year. And in the new year, it is now open 4 days a week. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Get on out to Tampa Bay Downs. Make a whole experience out of it. Take your friends, take your family. Go on out there, set up, take a look at the board for the day, and you can set up some of your bets. You can bet a little, you can bet a lot, you can win a little, you can win a lot. But one thing you will have is a good time over at Tampa Bay Downs. Save up your appetite, too, because that kitchen, they got some new items there. They got some good stuff going on over there at the at Tampa Bay Downs when it comes to food and drink. So save up that appetite. Go out and have a great time. Once again, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 4 days a week. Free admission on Wednesdays. And we've got, starting January 18th, coming up here in just a few days, the Live It Up Challenge. It's their online competition. It's back free of charge. You get daily challenges. Daily challenges with the races, lifelines, cash prizes, all that and more. TampaBayDowns.com for that information. Racetrack Road, Tampa Bay Downs. Live it up at the Downs.
3 WDAE and AM 620.
The Blender.
The Blender on the Pat and Aaron Show is brought to you by Mazda of Clearwater. If you're thinking about a new or pre-owned vehicle, the choice is clear. It is Mazda of Clearwater. And again, with interest rates on the way down, select models right now at Mazda of Clearwater are at 0% financing. Also want to remind you at the top of the hour, your chance to win $1,000 right here on iHeartRadio. Just make sure you're listening for the nationwide keyword. And by the way, there's a lot of things you could do with that money. You could buy some memorabilia. I know a lot of you guys love memorabilia. Maybe tickets to a Lightning game or to another game in town. I told Aaron yesterday I'd buy a big TV, a big fat TV to watch the Super Bowl. I mean, I got a pretty big TV. I'd buy an even bigger one. I've been trying to push Heidi into like a 75-inch or something.
Yeah,
you know?
Get it. Life size, baby.
I would just be gearing up for any of the games of like just eating and getting a lot of food and, you know.
You'd buy food.
Are you guys
Shocker.
making plans already for Super Bowl?
I'll be honest with you.
Are you not a party guy?
I'm not
You'd
a
rather
Super Bowl
watch a game?
party guy. I want to watch the game. And inevitably, when you go to a party, there's somebody that wants to do the how you doing, how are things. And it's like, you know what? It's the first quarter. That's how things are. Please stop talking to me. I'm trying to watch football. And I've told Aaron this before. A couple years ago, one of our good friends, Joe, her and her husband, Gary, they had a great Super Bowl party. And I was like, all right, I'll go. And like 45 minutes before the game, I looked around the room and how many people were in there and how many, hey, how have you been, were in there. And I just went,
You Houdini'd?
I can't do it. And I got like halfway home.
How you been?
Hey, how
That's
you
where Pat
been?
draws the line. He walked in, someone's like, how you been? He's like, damn it, I'm out.
I'm out. I'm not even going to respond.
Well,
to
once
this
the
guy.
game begins, I don't want any of that. So she ends up texting me like halfway home. Like, did you leave? And I was like, I'm sorry. I love you. I can't do it.
Somebody asked me how I was doing, and I had to leave.
I couldn't handle it.
The window was open, Aaron, so I left.
It was, and if you need the best impact windows around, Reese Windows and Doors, installing the highest quality impact windows in Florida for over 50 years. Do not wait for hurricane season to start because it will be here before you know it. Get on it today for a free quote. Visit reesewindows.com. Most windows installed, once again, in just 6 to 8 weeks.
Doug, I don't think we have the answer to this, but I do want to ask you before we get into the blender proper, if we even have time for that. We'll call this the blender. On the Bartow 4DA text line, somebody texted in. I think it's a really good question. Again, I don't know if it's one that we have the answer to. What happens if the Rays go to the World Series? Where will the games be played? I can't imagine that Major League Baseball is going to be cool with World Series games in a minor league ballpark.
From my understanding, they have not decided on the playoffs yet. That's my understanding.
Like, it can't be all the way in Miami, can it?
I don't know what they do. I think they're trying to get the game. I think they're just trying to get the season going first, and then that'll be decided when that time comes up.
I think if there's any chance, if we find out that if the Rays go to the World Series, it's going to be in Miami, we immediately start working on the Goon Squad shuttles and just like all of us, like a big bunch of buses, all get up together and go together, take over hotels, throw huge parties, and go watch the Rays in the World Series in Miami. It's the only way if that's what does indeed happen.
Wow, you're planning like 7, 8, 9 months from now? 8 months?
You can't. Here's what I've learned over the years, Doug. If you wait until right before something happens to try to throw something together, it doesn't go your way, right? When I did the Wounded Warrior Project thing in 2008, I knew nothing about doing charity events, throwing radiothons. So I'm reaching out to companies like Publix and other companies and going, hey, would you like to donate to this event? It's in a month. And they're like, talk to us next year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to
that's different.
You got to pre-plan
1 month,
these
4 weeks.
things.
Yeah. Well, this is planning way ahead of time. We haven't even started spring training. They haven't even arrived to spring training yet.
Listen, I'm not planning this until they get a couple more bats. That's for sure.
I'm trying to see where the Rays would be if there's any new information.
I don't think there is. I think I would have heard about it.
I feel like Doug would know.
Yeah, they haven't. I don't think they've decided that yet. I think they would need to go to Major League Baseball and everybody put their heads together and figure it out.
I didn't mean
is
to
what would
challenge
have
you.
to do.
I say, do not be besmirched Doug Waechter on a Wector Wednesday.
Oh, besmirched.
It's one of my favorite
good
words.
Usage of that word.
Casey Warner, what do we have in the blender?
All right, so there are a couple of big free agent names still out there in Major League Baseball. One of them being one young Roki Sasaki, the 23-year-old right-handed pitcher from Japan. Wednesday is the opening of the 2025 international signing period, and because Roki Sasaki is younger than 25, he is subject to an international bonus pool, meaning he will sign a minor league contract with a signing bonus that will not exceed $10 million or so, and he is not eligible to sign a massive $300 million contract like Yoshinobu Yamamoto did last season. Doug Waechter, who do you believe he might go to? Dodgers, Padres, Blue Jays seem to be the favorites.
I mean, I hate to say it, Dodgers are always going to be the favorite, right?
Listen, I think
to land somebody like this who has potential down the road to make a lot of money. He's a big arm. They just won the World Series. They're riding a lot of momentum. They already got Ohtani on the team as the best player in the world.
Yeah, and it seems like they all want to play with him.
They do, and they're built to win for a while. So if you're a pitcher,
Japanese players.
If you're a pitcher, I mean, why would you not want to play you're looking for an organization to win titles?
Well, what sucks is I think whether it's the Dodgers, maybe it's San Diego, other players from Japan might go to San Diego, might go to the Dodgers. I don't think they're coming here. I don't think they want to be on the East Coast. Because being on the West Coast allows them to be much closer to home for when they do.
Toronto's in the
Toronto's
East.
not a West Coast.
Listen, I don't
believe
believe Toronto's on the table
because
they can say he is. They are all they want.
They're still on the table.
It's a great international, like that area. That as far as a hub, I think it actually makes sense. Toronto. I think it's like I think you're on to something. I think it's West Coast or it's not America.
I think that if I was a 23-year-old pitcher with the arm that he has, knowing that you got a long time in the major leagues, I'm looking for my best chance to win multiple World Series.
Yeah.
Right now,
the Dodgers.
The Dodgers are pretty strong.
Yeah.
If you're talking about those three teams, I mean, my goodness.
I'm not going to say a Japanese. Look, we had Akinori Iwamura here. I'm not going to say a Japanese player will never sign with an East Coast team. I think most of them, if they had their choice, and I totally get it, by the way. If I'm from Japan and I can play on the West Coast of the United States and be closer to Japan for when I want to go home, like it makes a ton of sense. It just kind of sucks for those teams like us on the East Coast that I think it's much tougher to convince them to come play on the East if they can play in the West because it's close to home. I mean, closer to home.
Casey, to answer your question, I think he's going to be a Dodger.
That's my answer to everybody.
I hate to say it, but I think he's going to be a Dodger.
That should just be the answer to everybody.
Think about that rotation with that guy in it now and Ohtani coming back.
Ugh. You never know how those guys are going to turn out, though. You never know.
And you're right, though.
He's pretty good.
It feels like, do the Dodgers want him? Then they're the favorite.
Yeah, exactly.
It sucks. That's Major League Baseball, though. That's Major League Baseball. They need to fix it.
Hey, how about let's talk about those ribs coming next Wednesday?
Hey, ribs.
Hey, ribs.
Hey, ribs.
Hey, let's end the show with a message from Pat to the ribs.
Yes.
Hey, ribs.
Hey, ribs. You're going to be in our bellies next week.
A love letter.
Don't ask me how I'm doing.
David, we can't wait to see you. All right, that's all we have time for today. For Doug Waechter hanging out on a Wector Wednesday, for Aaron Jacobson, for Casey Warner in the penalty box, I'm Pat Donovan. Thank you to the men and women